No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News, and welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie, and there's my Boo Bear down by the river. It's nice for him to join us tonight. You're my beautiful baby, Boo. So I have many videos for you this evening. Many videos, including the DC Rioters Given War Powers Act. And legalization in Illinois, and yet they're still busting people left and right and complaining about the black market. Dr. Seuss books banned. Yes, we must discuss Dr. Seuss and his blatant racism. I have a video of a lifeless body being dragged. Ooh, scary. Yeah, well, I got lots of videos, like I was saying. And there's my Boo Bear. So we have that. This is a call-in show. Don't you go anywhere. Everybody's like, where's Rufus? Where's Rufus? You better stay here. Otherwise, people are going to be like, where's Rufus? We miss Rufus. And then they can't think about anything that I'm talking about because they just miss Rufus. So, where was I? We have lots of stuff to talk about. The DC riots, the FBI director testified today, again, referring to this as a domestic terrorist attack and domestic terrorists again and again and again, we're being told. It's really strange that, they call all these people domestic terrorists, but they don't bring up the fact that there's at least 6 Seattle police officers that are known to have taken part in the protest. At least 6 Seattle officers, which means there's cops back and forth from across the country, and we're not discussing the cops. Nobody's calling the cops domestic terrorists, are they? Nobody's saying, oh, look at all these police officers that are domestic terrorists. Except for me, I've been saying it for years. They're the real domestic terrorists. They're the ones who fucking terrorize children. They're the ones who put children in cages. Oh, I also have a video about Joe Biden putting children in cages, which is something that he's very fond of. If anybody understands the Biden crime bill, he has no problem putting children in cages. Again, making it impossible to imagine anyone who understands Joe Biden's political career, professional political career, lifetime, would get that, there's no way he was elected, because anybody who understands who he is could never vote for him. He's a horrible human being who loves to put kids in cages. That's what the crime bill was all about. You have a joint in your pocket and you're 15, 16 years old, you're going to go to jail for a year. That's what the Biden crime bill is all about. You put your left foot in, you take your pocket out. Let's see. La, 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 la. Is my beard weird? Oh, my beard is kind of weird, huh? Sorry. So let me think. We got all that going on, and it's a beautiful day in Seattle. I got a new seed bank last night to offer me. They said I can pick any 3 seeds, and it's a pretty big seed bank. Any 3 strains, they said. It's a pretty big seed bank. They have dozens and dozens of strains to choose from. Very unique strains. And they have one of my favorite beings, Ganache, as a like a logo on the front of their seeds. There's like that. Where you going? Don't you dare go. Don't you go. Oh my God, boo-boo. Oh my God. All right, so I got a new seed bank, and I'll be doing an unboxing with them in the next couple of weeks. We'll play that video on here. We'll do it separate. We'll play it on here also. So, and hopefully we'll. I'm plotting out the summer garden. I'm gonna do a backyard summer garden, and that's why I'm contacting some new people about if they would like to take part in my summer garden. And some of them are very, very nice. I find the people that are breeding seeds, the cannabis breeders of today's world, to be some of the most important people on the planet when it comes to the next evolution of mankind. Because this clearly is something that's been taken from us, and I believe once it's back, normalized as it should be. People eat this stuff. This has fed people for thousands of years, cannabis, and a whole lot of other stuff. We should be building our houses out of it, fueling our cars on it, making clothing out of it, all kinds of medicines. Once it's like a whole new revolution if it was actually legalized and hands off. But you hear, I have a legalization story here. I'll play it for you momentarily. You hear these cops, right? And they're saying, oh, marijuana use is a real problem, for us. It makes things much harder on us, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like all about, anti-freedom. Now, well, they have marijuana on them, but we can't bust them because marijuana is legal. So that's a problem for us because we want to bust the people with marijuana. I don't understand why cops and drug war profiteers and people who can't stand the idea of legalization of all drugs are so anti-freedom. Okay? You get back up there on the couch. Hey, I said up, 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 up. Good boy. Good boy. That's my good boo. Because you're anti-freedom, It's like saying, oh, well, cars kill people, so we can't have cars anymore. Because cars kill people. Every year cars kill people. We can't have cars. Lots of people. They kill lots and lots of people. We can't have cars anymore. See, responsible human beings, I don't think you really have to worry about getting caught up in heroin unless there's this black market, which drives everything underground, and the only reason that there's a black market is because of the drug war. And they'll go, and you'll see in this legalization clip I'm about to play for you, they'll talk about how, oh, the black market still exists, you know, and they'll show you how the black market exists, and they'll show you, you know, that marijuana, black market is thriving, right? And that's because marijuana hasn't been legalized. Okay, a couple of states have chosen to make it available to their adult population without penalizing them. But federally, back and forth across the country, it's illegal. So yeah, when this state legalizes marijuana, and then this state right next to it refuses to legalize marijuana for years and years and years, of course, there's a black market there. A huge black market, a huge opportunity for anybody who wants to make money. Okay, and this is the problem with the drug war to begin with, is that there's this big opportunity for someone who doesn't care if your 12-year-old child dies from taking a fentanyl-laced Zantac. They do not give a fuck. Okay, and that will never ever happen once drugs become legalized. You know why? Because nobody's going to be buying fentanyl-laced Zantacs. Okay, they're not a fucking idiot on the planet that wants to be eating fentanyl-laced Zantacs. It just happens because of the black market, because of the never-ending drug war, because of the bullshit police state that just grows bigger and bigger and bigger every fucking day, because of the goddamn drug war. Every one of your children is looked at suspiciously because of the goddamn drug war. Forever, for decades and generations, by this piece of shit government and its ever-expanding police state. And I've had enough. I don't have kids. So I don't know why you guys aren't throwing riots in the street. You know, oh, we can't be putting children in cages for decades and generations. Children, 12, 13, 15 years old, been put in cages because they had a little bit of weed on them, because they had flowers in their pocket. The safest drug there is. Never killed a single person. That person is a threat to humanity. That child is a threat to humanity, and we have to put them in jail forever, or at least a year or so, to teach them a lesson. This is your government. They have no problem putting children in cages, but unless, of course, they're immigrant children. And they don't really have a problem with it, because they do that too. So I just want to make sure that you understand who Joe Biden is when he talks about this, you know, oh, we can't put children in cages, and who the Democrats are and who the Republicans are. They've been doing this forever. Joe Biden, especially with his crime bill, put lots and lots and lots of children in cages, and he did it purposefully, and he knew it was wrong, and he didn't give a fuck. So that's who our government is, top to bottom, so you know. So when you hear this talk about, oh, we can't put children in cages, been doing it forever. Happily, gleefully, oh yeah, he had marijuana on him. He has to go to jail. We got to teach this fucking 15-year-old a lesson. That's your government. That's Joe Biden. That's Donald Trump. And all these other fucking cunts. And you know it's true. Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Chuck Schumer have worked their asses off to keep the failed drug war in place as firmly as possible for as many decades as they've been in fucking being representatives of the United States, of we the people. Okay? They don't have a problem putting children in cages. So we're clear. None whatsoever. It's all theater.
Right now, border agents are apprehending 200 children a day at the U.S.-Mexico border. And according to the AP, nearly all the beds run by the Department of Health and Human Services are full.
Now pressure is ramping up for the Biden administration to provide answers. Sinclair's chief political correspondent, Scott Thuman, shows you what's being done.
It will be a daunting test for the Biden administration, how to handle the thousands of migrants making it to the U.S. border. Nearly 7,500 families taken into custody this January, 5,800 unaccompanied children. Despite that,
do you believe that right now there's a crisis at the border?
I think that the answer is no. I think there is a challenge at the border that we are managing.
Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas blames a, quote, gutted immigration system they inherited. We spoke to his predecessor, Chad Wolf.
There's been such a knee-jerk reaction to dismantle and take down anything that was started over the last 4 years. So if it had Trump before its name, they want to take it down whether it works or whether it doesn't. And I think they have overreacted.
Axios reporting President Biden was being briefed Tuesday afternoon on a projected 45% increase over the all-time high for child arrivals and the need for 20,000 more beds, saying shelters could reach capacity this month.
You've got to send the signal to the smugglers, the traffickers, and the cartels that they're not going to succeed by continuing to traffic folks. As long as they can succeed, they're going to continue to fuel the pipeline. It's when you shut the pipeline off, you're going to see those numbers decrease. That's what we did in 2019.
While many praise the administration for its vow of more humane treatment, some say it's hardly enough. Others complain it's only encouraging more crossings.
If that is the message that we send, I can assure you it won't be long before we have tens of thousands of people showing up to our border, and it'll be catastrophic.
Wolf argues the administration's message for migrants coming to the U.S. to please wait for now is baffling. He contends it won't work and numbers will go up. In Washington, I'm Scott Thuman.
Here's a suggestion.
I have a video about
just
Dr.
don't be
Seuss.
a-holes.
I have a Dr.
Here's
Seuss
a suggestion.
Story. We can
just
talk
don't
about
be
whatever you
a-holes.
want. There's
Here's
a telephone
suggestion.
number
just
on the
be
screen
a-holes.
right there.
Here's
Why
a
don't you
suggestion.
call and
just
we'll
don't
discuss
be
Dr.
a-holes.
Seuss?
Here's a suggestion.
I'll be happy to discuss
just don't
Dr.
be
Seuss. I'm not going to
a-holes.
sit here and
Here's
blather
a
on about
suggestion.
Dr. Seuss.
Just don't be
I have very
a-holes.
fond childhood
Here's a
memories of
suggestion.
Dr. Seuss.
Just don't be a-holes.
Here's
a suggestion. Just don't be a-holes. Here's a suggestion. Just don't be a-holes. Here's a suggestion. Just don't be
if
a-holes.
you'd like to call, this
Here's
is
a suggestion.
call-in show.
Just don't be a-holes.
That's the reason
Here's a
the
suggestion.
telephone number is
Just
up
don't
there
be
on the screen.
a-holes. Here's a
So,
suggestion.
Please,
just don't be
call
a-holes.
now. Operators are standing by. Don't be an a-hole. Like Dr. Seuss. I always thought Star-Bellied Sneetches was kind of fucking racist, honestly. It's like, they don't like those people because of who they are. That's not cool. So what would you like to discuss? Because we can do that. I'm right here. I have a phone number on the screen. Anyone can call. Almost. Hello, caller.
Michael, you beautiful son of a bitch. Michael.
What?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Right on.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm fine. I have no problem.
You know I like to, I like to serenade you a little bit when I come in. That's my thing. That's what I do. And I gotta flex my vocal cords a little bit.
So you can warm up, so you can call back 10 minutes later and say, "Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit!"
Dude, I apologize so bad for that. You know what? I'm gonna not call your show like blackout drunk like that. That was bad. I apologize. I don't even I don't even believe what I said, by the way. Like if people want to invest in the stock market, have at it, Hoss.
I don't think you're gonna stop them, Pete, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't even know where the fuck my head was at. That guy just pissed me off. Where he's like, what he said was like, well, the only way I can make money is from the stock market. That's what triggered me. I got triggered. You know.
Yeah. Well, he sounded like he was saying some people's only opportunity to make money was through war profiteering. and that's just not true.
Yeah, and I completely, I was way too inebriated last night, and I need to fucking chill out on that shit.
Yeah, well,
so,
you need to start eating marijuana again, Pete. That's what you need to do. You're still not eating marijuana, are you?
I need to pass a drug test. I'm trying to get a new job, dude.
So you're not smoking weed either?
No, I can't.
Oh my God!
You're killing me, dude. I'm not smoking weed. That's why I'm so fucking on edge. I don't know. I may or may not have to pass a drug test. So, dude, I've been not smoking weed for like a week now.
Oh man,
killing me, bro. I'm scratching my neck. My fucking knuckles are all white and calloused. It's fucking awful. I'm white knuckling my shit through this, but. Yeah, I apologize. For that outburst.
That's fine.
That's not
actually
like
Pete,
me.
Pete, I have gone off on that guy before also, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, I mean, he sounded like he was a semi-troll, or he might have been friends with that other fucking troll douche that calls in.
He's kind of a copsucker, so that's the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to invest in the stock market, that's fine, dude. Like, I got a buddy who, like, I hang out with him. That's all he fucking talks about is the fucking stock market. And but it's okay. But he makes money. Like, he's really good at it. Like, he's successful at it. He researches. He knows his shit. And good for him. Like, if you're one of those people that is good and can do it, then go for it. But it takes a lot of effort. You got to really know what you're doing and really research and know the markets. And you got to also understand that the markets are manipulated and they're fucking horseshit. And it is kind of a casino. It is. And that's kind of why I'm against it. Like, I think the stock market should crash because I don't understand why anyone has confidence in the stock market because everything's fucking, to me, it's all rigged. It's manipulated. It is a casino. That's all it is. All it takes is one rich billionaire asshole to come in one day and send the price of silver from fucking $30 to $50, and then or from $50 to fucking $12, and then you're fucked, right?
Well, you don't want casinos shut down, do you?
No, I don't, but I don't think the stock market should be a casino. I think a stock market should be based on actual markets, free markets.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I don't like the shorting bets and stuff like that. They don't seem to make a lot of sense to me why anybody but a casino would put bets like that out,
Yeah, it seems like it's become... it is a casino to some degree, and especially with the pandemic and all the shit that's going on, a lot of people aren't working, and a lot of people are getting just like free money sent to them from the government, like they're just getting checks. So a lot of people are fucking like, that's what I'm worried. Like, I know a lot of people right now that are just like, dude, I become a day trader, like I'm just investing. It's like, that's when you know a bubble is happening. That's when you know, and when there's a bubble happening, it's gonna fucking crash. So that's all I'm saying. I'm like,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
It's fucking, it seems like it's 2008 happening all over again. And I don't know. I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to the stock market. Don't fucking listen to me. It just seems like when a lot of people that don't know shit about stocks start getting the stocks, guess what? Stock's gonna crash. That's what's gonna happen. I don't know. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong too. By the way.
I hear you. I don't know either. It seems like. There's some science to investing, but I don't get it. I haven't spent any time doing that, so I don't really understand the science behind it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't get it, and I don't want to get it. I'm the type of guy who I want to make my living off of having a skill, and
Yeah, well,
that's how. I don't want to make my money off of speculating on other people's skills. That's kind of fucked up.
And lucky you have many skills to bounce back on.
I do. I have many. Not to jerk my own cock, but yeah, I'm pretty badass.
And you're really good at that too.
Goddamn right I am. Always will be. I got a funny story about that. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But, in a little bit. But yeah, I got fired today actually from my job. But we'll talk about that later. It's a really funny story. But you were talking about the whole immigration thing. And how Biden is like putting kids in cages now. And I love how like the media, like the media made the biggest deal out of this when Trump was doing a similar thing.
Yeah.
And now that Biden's doing it, there's hardly a fucking peep. Like it's mentioned slightly, but it's not like when Trump did it. It was a mad, like everyone was talking about it. What a piece of shit! How
day
could he
after day after day after day. Yeah.
Yeah, and Biden's doing the same fucking thing because it's really the same, department that's dealing with all this.
Well, it's just like I keep saying, they're all the same. They're all the same. Until we throw in prison, we're not going to get anything except for the exact same thing we just had.
Yeah, and I honestly, I personally don't really know how I feel about immigration. I think I'm really against illegal immigration. I don't think we should let anyone illegal into the country because there's a lot of people. There's like a endless line of people trying to get into the country legally. And I don't like people entering the country illegally because a lot of them do manipulate and take advantage of the system. And I get that they come from a country that's fucked up and, run by cartels and there's murder and they're fleeing a country out of desperation, which I sympathize with. But I don't know. I don't think that necessarily means we got to let everybody in because if you look at history, whenever you let a mass influx of migrants in, it's never, ever, 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 ever good for the country.
We gotta here's the deal. Here's the deal, Pete. Right now, if I want to go to Canada, I cannot get across the border. And if I wanted to, if I didn't pay because of the COVID-19, if I did go across the border, they would lock me up. And they're extremely serious about that shit. So I don't know how in the middle of this pandemic we can have people flooding across the border like, yeah, send us all your people. We're good with that. I mean, I don't have a problem with immigration. I just would like to know exactly who it is that's coming across the border. In this time of, the terrorist threat is everywhere, so we have to spy on everyone. I want to know who's coming across the border, because that seems like step one. Not spy on every fucking American cell phone. Step one is know who's entering the country. But no, that's not a priority. We got to spy on everybody's cell phone. That's what really matters.
Yeah, that's disgusting, and that's something that the government's trying to slip in there is that we now need to spy on everybody. It's like, it's one thing to let people into the country legally, but we also have to fucking spy on everybody. It's fucking disgusting, but that's how they are. It's 1984, and they gotta fucking keep their fucking tabs on fucking everybody and control because that's what they're all about. It's not going to play out well for them, Michael. I don't think it is. But I don't know. I feel bad for all those people. I really do. It's a sad situation. I sympathize with them. But it's like, what are we going to do? We can't just fucking let everybody in, bro. We can't because if we did, a lot of these people coming in want to take advantage of the system too. A lot of these people coming in are not good people. A lot of them are cartel people. A lot of them are sending children over.
Well, if we ended the drug war, that's not a problem. But yeah, a lot of people
nailed it on the fucking head.
A lot of people are coming into the country and they're not drug dealers, but if they bring a pound or two of weed, they make $5,000. So, or heroin or cocaine, right? They bring, let's say, a pound of cocaine, they make $10,000. So, that's a good way to start a new life in America, right? If we end the drug war, that doesn't happen anymore. There isn't these drug cartels, these, gangs, these violent gangs. They go away. I don't know how people can't understand that.
I don't know if they go away.
They go away. There is no funding left for them. They go away.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. At least make it decriminalized. Fucking A. I mean.
Yeah, you gotta legalize
it's ridiculous.
it. You gotta legalize. You have to let people go to the fucking party store on Friday night and buy the substances that they want to party on, or else there's always gonna be a fucking black market.
Yeah, that's right. And all that encourages is this child trafficking, prostitution, crime, mob,
Well, the problem with the black market is they don't care if it creates these things that would never be in the system. If you can go to the party store on Friday night and get what you want for the weekend, whatever it is, nobody's going to walk in there and say, I want an 8-ball of fentanyl. Okay? It's not going to happen. But because of the drug war, they create...
There's people that will do that.
No,
there's
not. No. There's not.
No, there is. I know a couple of people that will definitely go right into the store and get an 8-ball of fentanyl for sure. But here's the thing: is like,
no, you don't. You don't know people that will do that, dude. There isn't the demand.
I know people that will do that.
Not if they can go and get good fucking smack. Okay, if they can go and get good heroin, good cocaine, good meth, they're not going to go get some fucking garbage drug that's fucking 1,000 times more potent than this stuff that they're most likely to OD on. You know, they're not going to do that. Why would you think that they would do that?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's the alternative. It's not good either way, dude. But I think it's better for it to be legal because otherwise, you know.
Well,
if it's legal, if it's legal, these guys do their fucking drugs. What's the worst they're going to do? They're going to do these drugs and sit in their apartment and fall asleep.
Everywhere.
That's it. That's all they're going to do.
Everywhere.
There's not going to be any crime. There's not going to be any nonsense.
Everywhere
we're just going to have
that all drugs are legalized, the drug use falls. The percentage of people who using hard drugs like meth and heroin drops off to almost nothing.
Yeah, I mean, of anything, it will probably bring more to light just how awful these drugs are. If they're more readily available, people maybe will have a revelation of just how bad they are.
If there's a party store at the fucking at the end of the block, you know, like the 7-Eleven, the convenience store, there's a party store, there's going to be actual education about what these things are. There's going to be, people will understand, it's like, okay, this substance is safe. It just the things that are not safe are
going to be any
things that are not safe.
Any place that's selling this shit, but it should at least be decriminalized. If you want to ruin your life on these shitty drugs, then you should have the right to do that.
Well, see, if it's decriminalized, the black market still exists. Okay, we got to end the black market. The black market is a huge problem. The black market is what causes 80% of crime in this country. If we end the black market, if you really want to defund the police, the simplest way to do it is to legalize all drugs. 50% of crime stops immediately.
Yeah, but do you think like companies should start mass manufacturing heroin and fentanyl and all this shit for people to take?
I think that I think the usage of those drugs will drop dramatically to almost non-existent. But yeah, there should be whatever company wants to make money off of addicts. I'm sure one of the pharmaceutical companies won't have any problem, creating a nice clean.
Oh, you're absolutely right. They won't.
A nice clean heroin.
Will not have a problem with that.
At least one or two of them won't have a problem with it. So they'll create a nice clean. They'll create a nice clean China white, and everybody will be, oh, that's the good stuff. Everybody that does that, people aren't going to want to do that, no matter how good it is.
Yeah, it's not. It really isn't appealing.
I've always said, once you have to draw blood, it's no longer recreational. At that point, it's a job. Trust me.
Yeah. Part of what makes it cool and appealing is that it's illegal, right?
Right.
Once it's legal, then it's not so fucking cool anymore, and not everyone's going to do it. You're just going to be one. You're one of those guys?
That's what I'm saying. Right? That's what I'm saying, is that once it becomes out in the open instead of being in the shadows, like right now, there's probably people around you that do meth and all kinds of other drugs that you don't know about. But once it comes out in the open, it will be much more obvious. People will be like, "Oh, I have a problem. I've done meth for the last every day for the last month, and I can't seem to stop doing it."
It couldn't. Yeah, you know? You're right, and it couldn't possibly be any worse than it is now.
Right. That's the real problem.
It couldn't be worse than it is now.
That's the real problem. I have this legalized video here, and there's a cop talking about the problems it creates, and all I can think is, there's all these problems now. Every problem he talks about exists in mass quantity now, and it's exactly because of the drug war. It's so strange that these fucking propagandists that want to keep this shit going forever are really, really hurting the human race, and I'm just tired of it.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right. It's not going to be such a cool thing to do if this becomes legalized.
Yeah.
You're just going to be judged. You're going to be one of those guys.
Well, it's like I said. Okay, there's not going to be somebody there's going to be a Friday night. There's going to be a line at the party store, and everyone's going to be like, "Yeah, it's Friday night, right?" And they're going to be getting their shit, and then somebody's going to step up to the counter and go, "I want an 8-ball of fentanyl," and everybody's going to take like 2 steps back. They don't want to be around those people,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's just like,
right. Yeah.
So it again, because it's out in the open, we'll know who those people are, and those people won't want to be those people anymore. At least an awful lot of them.
It's probably for the better.
And they'll be able to get help, not be those people anymore. Without completely destroying their lives, having everything taken away from them, having cops fucking treating them like they're horrible criminals, when all it is they have a substance abuse issue. And now they can't get help because it's all in the shadows. And if they say anything, they lose their job, they lose their car, they lose their home, they go to jail. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I think you just ended the drug war, and you're absolutely right. It's like, dude, there's so many people, including me, whose lives have almost been ruined over fucking drugs, and it's so fucking stupid. People should be allowed to make mistakes, and they should be allowed to,
be human.
Come back from their mistakes. It shouldn't ruin your life for 5 or 10 years or 20 years or whatever the fuck it is, right?
They should be. They should be allowed.
We're fucking human beings.
They should be allowed. People should be allowed to be human. Okay. The problem is that they've criminalized something that humans have done for 1,000 generations before now. 1,000 generations being 20,000 years, okay? Humans been doing this forever, getting high. It's part of being the big-brained, upright, walking, tippy top of the food chain. We can go, ooh, I like that. I'm gonna get some more of that. Those mushrooms make me feel funny. I like that. Cavemen can understand this because again, they have the big brains. And so it's this normal thing that humans have done forever until the last 100 years, when all of a sudden being a normal human being is criminalized. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it's drug use has been a part of human evolution, and I've heard some interesting theories about what propelled human beings, particularly into what propelled us into this evolution, into these great beings that we are, was psilocybin. A lot of people think that us taking mushrooms is what propelled us into higher thinking, and is what evolved us into these beings that we are now. Like we wouldn't think like we do if it wasn't for psychedelics. Like I know, like when I took psychedelics, when I took mushrooms, like I had some thoughts that like made me think like I was fucking, like I thought of some shit that I never would have fucking thought of. Some really, like when I took mushrooms, dude, I realized a lot of things about myself that I never would have realized had it not been for psychedelics. And and maybe that is really what's made human beings evolve so quickly, and what's made us who we are, is that a monkey fucking ate some some mushrooms that were growing out of some shit, and then that changed us forever. You know, it changed some chemistry in our brains, and
I can guarantee you that the cavemen were eating psilocybin mushrooms. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Must have, right? How could we possibly have gotten here without it?
Yeah, and
how did we? Yeah, how did we evolve so much faster than everybody else?
I've always looked at the psilocybin type mushrooms as like little beings of knowledge. It's like they always have something to teach you, or something to explain to you, or something to show you.
Dude, I learned so much from doing mushrooms. I learned so much about myself, about my own brain. I came to so many revelations about the world, and I've never been the fucking same since. That fucking changed my life. And if you never took mushrooms, people, or never took acid, I never took acid myself. I only took mushrooms. But if you never trip, people, you know, go out there and fucking trip. You know, start with some micro doses and step your way up. It'll change your fucking life. You'll realize some shit that you never would have ever thought of in your fucking whole life. And listen to the Beatles' Revolver album while you do it, because that's a good album to trip to.
There's a lot of music that I would listen to. I would be careful about the Pink Floyd. It's pretty dark. But there's lots of good stuff to hear. You know, and I saw John Waters, who is a legendary director of lots of different movies. But he was doing an interview recently, and he was saying that you know, to the people that are 65, 70, 75 years old, because he's getting around that age now, he was saying that if you haven't done mushrooms or LSD, you know, for the last 20 years, he said, you know, if you're feeling good, it's probably a really good experience to have, because it'll blow out a lot of the cobwebs that are inside your brain and make things a lot more clear.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. You won't have any cobwebs in your brain after that shit. I mean, I've never had my brain more redlined in my fucking whole life than when I fucking took mushrooms, dude. That was a fucking eye-opening experience. Changed my fucking life for the better. Definitely. And it wasn't a good trip either. I tripped so hard that I thought that I died and went to hell.
Wow, that's scary.
That's how hard I tripped. But, dude, I learned so much from that trip, dude. I really did. That shit was fucking crazy. So crazy. I thought I was in hell with demons. I was like, there's no way I could possibly be this fucked up. I must be dead. I must have passed away and gone to hell. Like, I'm in hell. I must be in hell. There's fucking demons flying around. There's voices. There's all this shit. I must have died.
It's not. I mean, it's not like a real typical experience. People, you don't have to worry about going to hell if you take mushrooms. So you know.
No. Well, this is where I fucked up. So the first time that I took mushrooms, my buddy that was selling the mushrooms was a guy that we called Stretch. We called him Stretch because he was 6'7". And he was a basketball player. He was a very tall guy. We called him Stretch. And you never ask a giant man how many mushrooms you should take, because for him, an eighth is like nothing. You know, to a giant guy, an eighth is nothing. But to someone like me, an eighth is enough to make you lose your goddamn mind. So, if you're going to take mushrooms, people, don't take an eighth for the first time like I did and have a crazy, traumatizing experience. Take like a gram. Take a nice little gram. And see what happens.
Just do what you want to do. Just make sure you're in good surroundings with good people. We used to buy ounces of mushrooms, and we just put them out in the center table and just start eating them, not measuring any amounts. Next thing you know, there's an ounce of mushrooms gone. So it's not.
An eighth of mushrooms is a lot of mushrooms. If you've never taken mushrooms before,
I took 2 grams of mushrooms one time at work when I was working at an auto body place, and I was working outside sanding on this car. in the sun, and the mushroom started really kicking in, and I looked in the rear view mirror on the driver's side door. I looked in the rear view mirror, and my face looked really weird, and I got closer, and I couldn't find the pupils in my eyes, and I started to freak out because I couldn't find the pupils in my eyes. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
So,
I know that. Yeah, I know that feeling. My buddy used to love to take mushrooms and go into the woods at night and just stare at the moon.
Yeah.
Tree branches.
Yeah.
Crazy,
Beautiful.
crazy shit.
Yeah.
I don't like tripping. I've been there. I dipped my toes on the other side. I've been there, and I don't think I need to go back. I learned what I need to learn.
It's this good thing, you know. I mean, right now you don't need to go back, whatever. But you know, again, if you need kind of like if you're having problems in your head that you can't make go away, it's a good way to like help figure things out. I think. You know, again, as long as you're with the right people, if you're with the right people in a good setting, you don't want to be all stressed out about this thing and then be by yourself and then be tripping. You know, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, you need to have happy vibes, good people, good music, very happy settings, and then you'll have a good trip. And don't take too much. You know, if you've never taken mushrooms before, take like 1 or 2. Dude, by the way, the mushrooms that I took had like some orange shit growing on the top of them. Like the top of those mushrooms were like crusty orange, orange, dude. Like that shit. Oh my god, they were so fucking good.
Yeah.
Just be careful with that shit, because you can go to the other side. You know, just be careful. Like you can think you died and went to hell like I did, and that's not fun.
Well, that's why you need to have people around.
A light trim experience can be very, very revelatory.
Yeah.
You know, like we said, you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot about about yourself and how your own brain thinks. Yeah. It's like therapy. It's like you can either go to a therapist for 2 years or take mushrooms one night. It's the same thing.
Yeah, in the 1950s, early 60s, going to your therapist and taking LSD was a fairly common thing. It was a type of therapy that was being done, advertised and being done regularly, because you can solve all these issues. You can let go of all these walls and protection devices that you keep in place so that no one ever knows the real you, and you let them down, and you actually experience the real you, because a lot of times people themselves don't even experience the real you. Hey Pete, I gotta go. I gotta play a video, and I gotta take a bong hit.
I wasn't even done. I wasn't even close to that.
I gotta go.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, it's good to hear from you. I'll talk to you soon.
I love you too.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I have a video here about legalization. I am going to play that for you. And again, make sure you listen to what the cop says. The cop says all these problems with the legalization of cannabis, they're going on. You know, they've been going on for the entire drug war, all these problems that he talks about. They have gone on and increased throughout the entire drug war. And maybe it's a good idea to try a different path, you know, if we really want to have a better society. Where the fuck is that video at? Let me see. Legalize. There it is. Number 7. Legalize marijuana is such a problem for the people, for the police officers in Illinois.
Welcome back, everybody. As you probably know, America is moving toward legalizing marijuana state by state in an effort to decrease illegal drug sales and bring the cash from the street corner to the state's cash register.
And more than a dozen states have legalized the use of medical marijuana. Those states are seen on your screen in blue, while nearly the same number of states have legalized recreational use. Those you can see in green. News Nation reporter Ben Bradley joins us now live with a look at some of the issues that aren't so easily fixed.
Yes, Marty and Rob, we're going to look at just one state. Illinois cannabis sales got off to a fast start last year with dispensaries selling, get this, nearly $700 million worth of product. While the state is seeing green, some are seeing red at the mixed messages on marijuana. In 2019, the governor made good on a campaign promise. signing a bill to legalize recreational marijuana. The change in law brought lines outside dispensaries and a windfall of $162 million in tax revenue for the state. But according to law enforcement, what legalization has not done is put drug dealers out of business.
Despite the legalization of cannabis, the black market for cannabis has absolutely continued to thrive.
Police say it's a matter of simple economics.
So they can sell it for quite a bit less than what they're selling at the dispensary, and they're putting more money in their pocket.
Which is why west of Chicago, sheriff's deputies are still seizing large quantities of illegal cannabis during traffic stops like this one.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Deputy Weston with the Sheriff's Office. Your license and your insurance? How come you're shaking? You a little nervous? You smoke a little bit of weed in the car? You don't have to be so nervous. Haven't seen my front seat.
A roadside search of the man's rental car led to the seizure of 47 pounds of illegal cannabis products.
Heavy. That ain't it's not 1 pound. Not 1 pound.
Including more than 1,000 THC edibles labeled as nerd candy ropes. In all, a combined street value of $100,000.
We just keep running across it, so my numbers they're high.
So much so, they're running out of space.
So this is one of our storage areas that we had to come up with. We've run into so much cannabis over the last year that we've run out of places to put it.
Most of it intercepted on its way from the West Coast, brought here by road or rail, and sometimes hidden in containers like this one.
This is about a pound here, and inside the container that it was in, there was over 1,000 pounds of a child's play set. That's what was being shipped across country.
With 1,000 pounds of marijuana inside.
There is a lot of high-quality marijuana and other THC products coming in through the black market.
The problems have grown like weeds since legalization and are felt in cities as big as Chicago and in small communities across the country.
That's a situation where we do continue to get calls from neighbors. They're complaining that there's people showing up in the street, coming out, buying the marijuana. They're doing it in plain daylight, plain sight.
Which is why many police departments continue to arrest drug dealers, even for selling modest amounts of marijuana, because they say it leads to other, more serious crimes.
And that's the biggest thing that we're afraid of. When people are selling drugs in neighborhoods, we're afraid that there's going to be robberies that are associated with it.
Among their recent busts, seizing marijuana, like these bags hidden in a can of Kool-Aid, and THC edibles packaged to look like candy and chips. Police say they found it all in this man's apartment.
Our guys are out there doing the job.
But others are angry about the mixed messages on marijuana. Some prosecutors say it's not a priority, but police keep making arrests.
Because the last time I filed a complaint.
Lorinda Welton, a retired teacher and grandmother, says police have raided her home south of Chicago, not once, not twice, but 3 times in recent years.
Yeah, this is the door. You can literally see the imprint of the battering ram.
Police were looking for her son, who they had previously arrested on marijuana-related charges. But the stiffest penalty he received was probation.
It's a big hole that went straight through.
If critics see the Cook County Courthouse as a revolving door for drug offenders, it's Ms. Welton's door that has come to symbolize the futility of waging an old war on drugs in a new cannabis climate.
It seems like a repeating circle. So how do we break that?
There's got to be consequences to your actions. There's got to be some consequences, and people need to go to jail, unfortunately, to make this stop.
But even he acknowledges his cops can make cases, but if prosecutors don't prioritize marijuana crimes, the cycle continues.
But they don't understand that marijuana use and the selling of it, that is a serious issue. That leads to so many more problems for us.
So why hasn't legalized weed slowed the black market and the problems that come with it? It's simple dollars and cents. States tax recreational marijuana at such a high rate, users can buy it illegally on the street, in many cases for half what they pay at a state licensed dispensary. Rob?
Fascinating report, Ben. Thank you so much.
All right, so that video right there was the worst kind of fucking drug war propaganda. The the guy's saying, oh, you can get marijuana for a half price from your neighbors. Okay, so I like to buy marijuana from my neighbors, not because when I need marijuana. I prefer to buy marijuana from my neighbors. Generally, I like to grow my own, but I prefer to buy it from the neighbors, not because it's half priced, because I can go down to the weed store and I can buy ounces for $50 of flowers, okay? But, and the neighbor sells it for over twice that. But the thing is that the flowers that I get from the neighbor are grown with some feeling. I can tell that they have some heart in them, That's why I want it. They're better. I like them. They taste better. They give me a better feeling than the stuff I get at the recreational store. It didn't used to be that way when it was the medical store. When it was the medical store, the flowers were pretty damn good. But now that it's recreational, it's just all these people in it for the money, and they don't care, if their trichomes are 30% amber or 10% amber or whatever, But then they're talking about in that story. Hold on, I'm gonna take this dab. Excuse me while I whip this out. Citrusy. So they're talking about how the black market is thriving even though legalization has happened. And again, this is what I already have explained to you, is that there isn't a legalization hasn't happened. Okay, because in Illinois, marijuana is legal now recreationally. Doesn't mean that in Ohio and in all these states that surround Illinois that it's legal. So you still have the black market all around these places. If you just eliminate the black market, if you just say, okay, marijuana is legal everywhere, anyone who can go to the weed store, wants to go to the weed store, can go to the weed store, there'll be very, very, very few people who go to their neighbor to get weed, because they don't mostly know any better. It will, and plus when you go to the weed store, it's like going to the candy shop. They have every flavor and all these different forms and edibles and soda pops and coffee drinks and Cheetos and licorice. It's just endless, Hello, caller.
What's up, Mike? It's Brandon, man.
Hey, Brandon, how's it going, G?
Oh, you know what? Nothing. I just bullshitting. I was listening to you talking earlier, man, but then, I started talking to your boy and shit, and then I damn near done forgot what the hell I was going to say. But, okay, let me get on all this cancel culture shit, okay?
Sure.
So let's say you got half the people in the room that agrees with it, and the other half of the room that don't agree with it. I think the reason why it's so polarizing now is just because people have a conscience, and conscience is like, well, my daddy was tough on me, but I'm not going to be tough on my son. You know what I'm saying? Or either a child or a mother or whatever. But I think that's with the cancel culture. But I do believe that some things, you can put a disclaimer on it and just say, hey, look, boom, because if you go watch Revenge of the Nerds, that movie's probably that movie won't even be nominated for Rotten Tomatoes. Huh. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like hair pie. But there's a lot of those movies back in the 80s that was just all about, girls naked or topless.
Oh, and yeah. There's a movie. There's a movie from 1969 that has like Richard Burton and some other guy, and they're like 60 years old, and they're chasing a 15-year-old girl. It's just fucking hilarious, man.
Well, I think it was the Orange Clock. or Orange Walk. I don't know that. Well, one of them. Oh shit. Anyway, I don't fuck the name of the movie, but it was one like that where guys were chasing a totally naked woman around. Yeah, I mean, so, you know, so and then like back then, it was talking about women had a place, right?
Well,
you know, they supposed to cook, clean, get smacked, or had no say so in nothing. You know, and now, and that's just a disclaimer, because I think maybe some people got daughters now and they feel guilty because they thought that was appropriate during their time, and they don't want guys to do that to their children, you know, or their older daughters. You know, again, I just think it's just people starting to feel guilty about stuff that everyone laughed about back in the day. Man.
I tell you what I think they feel guilty about. I think they feel guilty about surrendering up freedom of speech for some kind of false morality. The truth is that there are 60-year-old guys chasing 15-year-old girls. You know,
exactly.
You know, but we can't deal with that reality, so we have to say, "Oh, this is morally unacceptable, so we can't portray this in video." You know, but it's not. I mean, it's just not the reality. You know, and it's like, oh, I can't tell my children about that marijuana is the only safe drug because then I'm promoting the use of drugs. No, you're saving your child from taking some evil substance that could kill them. You know, we're dealing with reality here.
Yeah.
We're dealing with reality. The reality of the situation, you know.
But
you look, hey, Brandon, I know you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. What I'm saying is that even those people who are thinking that way are starting to change their minds. You know, meaning people just change their minds. Like, whatever, their favorite player. Let's just keep it simple like that on a sports team.
No,
you know,
I agree.
Or
people mature. They say, "Oh, well, I'm not. This is not." But I also think that there's a lot of virtue signaling that goes on like that. You know, it's like, "Oh no, I'm an adult now, and I know that's wrong." You know, as where again the reality of the situation.
And you know what? Yeah, I mean, and you know what? You see that virtue signaling going on both sides, you know, like me being from the South, if people want to argue about those goddamn statues, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, what would it mean if your kid, you know, like you don't see a lot of Jewish people sending their kids to school to praise how good the generals were in the Nazis. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, they're not sending their kids for that. You know, and now I can personally tell you, growing up in the South, I was told amazing stories by my teachers about, you know, the Confederacy Army and how to praise Stonewall Jackson, how he sit on his horse and stood like a stone wall, and that's how he got his damn nickname. Now imagine how I just said it, but imagine, you know, some 8-year-old or 9-year-old kids in class, and you got a passionate white teacher from the South. You know what I'm saying? That's proud of their Southern heritage, and you know, and they know their history, but they're proud of where they came from, and that's how they promote that. And then people feel proud about it too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that was a really nasty war, man. I mean, more Americans died in that.
That was a stupid war. Never should have.
More Americans died in that war than any other war, and I believe in all the other wars combined.
Almost 1 million.
Yeah. I think more than all other wars combined. So.
And what's sad is, I think the average height of that soldier in the Civil War was like 5'7".
I don't know how that's the sad part. I don't know how that's the sad part of that story, but
because they grew up on beans and greens, man. I mean, you know, everybody was poor back then. You know, not everybody had money to shoot a deer.
There's a lot of poor people now too, man.
Well, again, we're shitting on them. You know what? I hope Bernie forces the vote. I think you've seen that. I don't know if you talked about it yet already.
Is that the $15? Is that the $15 thing?
Yeah. I mean, because that can give a little people pride in how much they make, and then they gonna come off with government assistance. You know, and then anytime someone's got pride, then maybe they'll feel better about themselves. But I don't know.
It's not just that. It's not just that. It's going to help those people pick themselves up a little bit. But besides that, it's going to give them a little tiny bit of extra money that they might spend here or there that they wouldn't rather normally spend. And them spending, all these people having that little tiny bit of extra money that they spend here and there will create lots of new jobs.
Yeah. And you know what? I believe a very good talking point, because the Republican Party always talk about bootstraps.
Yeah.
Maybe Biden or the Democrats could say, let's just give them, just give them some bootstraps to help, or some shoelaces or bootlaces to help out, so they can pull themselves up by their bootlaces. Let's
at least buy him a pair of boots. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I hear you. I've always thought, this thing where, it's so anti-Jesus, and all those people claim Jesus, and Jesus would be like the first,
it's so
people.
Crazy.
Yeah. All those people.
Sad is like that.
Yeah, it's and that's just another one of these things where I say, they're just talking to different suckers. They know these suckers over here love Jesus, so they love Jesus too.
Yeah, it's sad, dude. Listen, I'm all from the South, man.
Yeah.
And I grew up Southern Baptist.
And, that's the real shit right there.
Hey, I tell you this much: I didn't know that the Baptist Church broke up 10 years before the Civil War, because the Northern Baptists felt guilty about the Southern Baptists owning people. And they questioned, that in faith. And so the church broke up, and the Baptists said, well, fuck that, we're the Southern Baptists. We want to own people. And that was 10 years before the Civil War.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, yeah.
Yeah.
I dated a Southern Baptist girl when I was in high school. I used to finger bang her in the church.
I knew she was a freak. Finger banger, man.
I used to finger bang her while we were at church. She wore dresses at church, and I'd slide my hand right up in there.
And I bet you smelt that finger all day, didn't you?
Well, no. I as soon as I could get the fuck out of church, my face went in there, so not worried about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man, I had a whole skit one time about finger banging. But anyway, I didn't talk about finger. I don't know if we're going to finger bang. Jesus. Sorry, ladies.
It's Southern Baptist girls. You know those Southern Baptist girls, man. They're just, they're irresistible. They know what's up.
Yeah. Hey, my wife is Christian. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, damn it, I'm in trouble now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but she up there.
Nah.
But yeah, Mark, man, it's good to talk to you and everything, and he was telling me that my stuff is gonna be in the mail, so I'm getting my Mark for president. You know what I'm saying, Mike?
My cock for president.
Yeah.
My cock for president.
And, we're gonna see what we're gonna do about that out here.
It's got a top 5 reasons on the back to vote for my cock.
There you go. All right. Well, I'll be the spokesman out here in Missouri, man.
Okay, Brandon.
All right.
Yeah. It's good to hear from you, brother.
All right, brother.
I'll talk to you soon, I hope.
Okay, man. All right.
Stay
care.
Cool. See ya. That's our buddy 2 Bronze Star Brandon. And again, you don't get a name like that. You earn a name like that. So, if anybody wants my cock for president postcards with the top 10 reasons to vote for, top 5 reasons to vote for my cock, let me know, or let Craig know. Call Craig, and he will send you out my cock for president postcard, a couple of Mox News stickers. He said he'll send a couple of Mox News stickers, and Mox News business cards for anybody who wants them. So, because knowledge is free, baby. So let's see. I'm going to play a video for you, and I will be right back. You guys want the Dr. Seuss video? You want the Dr. Seuss video? I have a video about the French president being the former French President Sarkozy being sentenced to 3 years in prison. You want to hear that video or the Dr. Seuss one? Okay, former French President Marc sentenced to 3 years in prison and then changed by another judge to 1 year of house arrest. Naturally, because that little bitch ain't going to make it through 3 years of prison. I'm going to tell you that for sure. All right, we'll play that one.
Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been found guilty of corruption and influence peddling. He was handed a 3-year prison sentence, but is unlikely to actually spend time behind bars. The court ruled Sarkozy can serve 1 year at home, and the remaining 2 years were suspended. His lawyer has already announced that the former president will appeal the ruling. Haxie Myers-Belkin takes a closer look at what Sarkozy was convicted of.
From president of France to convicted criminal, Nicolas Sarkozy has been handed a 3-year prison sentence, 2 suspended, after a Paris court found him guilty of corruption, a verdict his lawyer says he'll appeal. At the heart of the matter, what's come to be known as the phone-tapping scandal. Back in 2013, Sarkozy was being wiretapped, suspected of taking illegal contributions from Libya for his 2007 presidential bid. Investigators soon unearthed a secret phone line. Sarkozy's friend and lawyer, Thierry Herzog, was on the other end. Prosecutors said the pair's intercepted conversations revealed a plot to bribe a senior magistrate named Gilbert Azibert with a prestigious job in Monaco. In exchange, they wanted information about an investigation into claims Sarkozy received illicit payments from a L'Oréal heiress during his 2007 campaign. Just chats between friends, according to the defense. But the court said Sarkozy, Herzog and Azibert had sealed a pact of corruption. The 3 men received identical sentences. Sarkozy has always maintained his innocence.
Is it acceptable that I be spied on in my most intimate conversations? That I be held in custody for 15 hours? They're trying to humiliate me.
Sarkozy is unlikely to spend any time in prison, the court allowing him to request to be detained at home with an electronic tag instead. But the verdict by no means marks the end of Sarkozy's legal woes. He's already due back in court later this month on more charges of illegal campaign financing.
For some more context on this story, we welcome Paul Smith to the program. He is an associate professor of French history and politics at the University of Nottingham. Thanks for joining us here on France 24. Was Sarkozy?
All right, I like that, Charlie James, man. That's a tree I'd like to climb, I'll tell you what. But I digress. Well, actually not digressing, because speaking of trees I'd like to climb.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united.
See, now, I know I play that clip and you forget all about the clip I just played a second ago. But the French president, former French president Sarkozy going to prison for, being sentenced to prison for 3 years is a beautiful thing. One of these days, hopefully, we'll get something like that for Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney. But I'm not holding my breath. But those courtroom drawings, did you see those courtroom drawings? They were like moving and stuff. Those are pretty cool. Those are like the coolest courtroom drawings I've ever seen. I really like that. All right, so again, it's a call-in show. If you want to call, the number's right there on the screen. That's the reason the number's on the screen, because this is a call-in show. So I feel bad having to explain this to intelligent people like yourselves. So if you'd like to call, please do so. Operators are standing by, and it's always lovely to hear from you all. Otherwise, I have a video about Dr. Seuss. I have a video from Kennedy about the threat from Iran. I have a video I have a short version of Kennedy from the video from from the threat from Iran. Let's see. Lifeless body being dragged. How about that one? Let's play that one.
Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been found guilty of corruption and influence.
Tonight, the search is on for a Nevada man. Police say this surveillance video shows him dragging the body of a 22-year-old woman he allegedly killed. Authorities released that video in an attempt to help track him down. News Nation reporter David Charnes has the latest from Las Vegas.
Prosecutors say video from the morning of August 29th shows 25-year-old Eric Rangel Ibarra helping 22-year-old Leslie Palacio, seen here alive, get out of his truck and into the house. An hour later, in video we've blurred due to its graphic nature, the same camera catches Rangel Ibarra and another man, who prosecutors believe is his father, 46-year-old Jose Rangel, dragging a lifeless body from the home and into that same truck. Minutes after, the truck drives off, leaving Rangel hosing off the walkway. Police say Rangel Ibarra killed Palacio and then left the country with his father. These crime scene photos inside the home showing a stripped bed and blood spatter, though investigators say they have yet to determine whose blood it is. Investigators also taking photos of gloves and cleaning supplies in the home. Court documents showing Rangel initially told police that Eric told him Palacio had died from an overdose. He told police the first time he saw the body was when Eric dragged it down the stairs of their home on a sheet. 2 weeks later, Palacio's body is found off a road near the Valley of Fire, concealed behind a bush.
We need to catch the main character.
Investigators arrested Rangel near the U.S.-Mexico border last month. He told officers he had driven to Mexico with Eric, and then they split up after that. Palacio's family says this is just the beginning.
We're not going to stop until Eric is finally caught.
David Charnes, News Nation, Las Vegas.
All right, so that kind of shit will almost never happen if you just teach your children about cannabis, the truth about cannabis, that it's the only safe drug there is, and that you'll never be upset with them for taking cannabis, because it's the smartest choice out of all the other ones. Because that should be the truth. You know, your children are making a smart decision when everybody around them is using all kinds of crazy drugs. They're saying, oh, no, I'll stick to the safe stuff. Thanks very much. And alcohol sure as hell ain't safe. It's the #1 date rape drug in the world. Hello, caller.
Hello, Michael. This is Chris from Olympia. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing really well tonight, Michael. I just wanted to call and express that I was listening in earlier in the call, and I was listening to Star Brandon earlier, and I just wanted to let you know that I read an article about a decorative soldier individual that had some stars on his shirt and stuff like that. I think it's really, really cool, and I just wanted to let you know that every time that I see an article about stuff like that, I look into it, Michael. But how are you doing tonight, Michael?
I'm fine.
You're fine?
I'm fine.
You're not great?
I'm fine. Everything's fine. You guys remember that song? You guys remember that song? Everything's fine! You guys remember that? I love that song.
Michael, have you been reading any articles? Any good articles lately? Because I've read a lot of good articles, but, you know, you probably already just know all of my articles, and I'm running out of articles. But I got an article I guarantee you that you have not heard about.
Okay.
I guarantee. Do you want to hear about it?
Sure.
Michael, you don't have to be so rude.
Okay. We'll solve that problem. Thank you. And that was not Chris from Olympia, in case anyone's wondering. I think I don't think I'm being rude. I really don't. I think that I'm a very good show host. And I've been told by many, many people that that's true. So, if you think I'm being rude, why don't you call me up and we'll see how that goes for you. Let's see. So we should play more videos, I guess. You want to see the Kennedy-Iran short version? We'll do the short version of Kennedy-Iran. How's that? Instead of the long version, which takes considerably longer. This is just the good parts.
All right. Well, which 21st century U.S. president didn't bomb the Middle East? That's a trick question, because they all have.
My thoughts are this. I am utterly shocked that a Pentagon made up largely of cronies for Raytheon and Boeing and Northrop Grumman and the rest of the military-industrial complex decided that the right way to proceed with this was airstrikes. That was, I'm still reeling from that. Let's be clear about something. This has all started from the pretext of an attack that supposedly happened before this. We, of course, know this happened because the government told us it did. And, of course, there's no previous history of the government lying to us to set off airstrikes or wars. We don't have the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq lie. We don't have the Gulf of Tonkin or the USS Maine or the ignoring of the signals that led up to the Pearl Harbor attack. We don't have a history of the government lying to us to get us into yet another war. I want people to think about for a second what would happen if, name a government, the government of Iran, the government of China, put bases around the entire U.S., surrounded the U.S. They were in Canada, they're in Mexico, they're in most of the Caribbean islands. There are fleets right off of our shores. They're flying drones just outside of our territory. They're constantly threatening us with war and invasion and liberation if we don't dismantle our nuclear program. This constant, perpetual, endless war will never end until the troops are home where they belong to protect this country.
We could close some of the bases, though. All right. Well, which 21st century U.S. president didn't bomb the Middle East? That's a trick question, because they all have.
Why doesn't anybody ask questions like that? Which U.S. presidents have not bombed the Middle East in the 21st century? It's a trick question. All of them have. Because that's who we are now. That's who our government is. We drop bombs because it makes money. Makes rich people even more rich. Like Dick Cheney. Really good people like Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney. Who vote to keep war going forever and ever and ever. But we can't help the poor. No, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. What are you talking about? Build an infrastructure. Do you know how much that's going to cost? Plus, we're busy spending all of our money on war. Don't you know there's a terrorist threat? Well, we'll just make it clear to you by making you the terrorist. The threat is now domestic terrorism. Oh, we're going to spend so much fucking money on domestic terrorism. You thought we spent a lot on terrorism. You just wait. Because the Patriot Act is barreling your way. Patriot Act 2 is barreling your way. It is coming on strong, baby. I am waiting for a phone call, so I will go ahead and play more videos, unless, of course, someone wants to call. The number's there on the screen if you would like to call. Otherwise, there's my beautiful baby down by the river. You're my beautiful baby. You are. It's true. So, otherwise, I can play more videos. I have a video about, let's see, I have a video about, let me see here now. There it is. I have a video about a fucking tiger. I don't see a fucking tiger. We're talking about fucking tiger! Fucking tiger. Gotta check off the fucking tiger video. Oh, and I have this video because this is real, and you should probably see this because it's real. You need to know about these things that are real. This is real, not like that bullshit that I was telling you 5 minutes ago. This is real.
Trump won the election. Among the suspect's possessions, this is real. a white privilege card. I want you to take a look at this. It's a fake white privilege credit card. Subtitle, Trump's everything. The card holder, scot-free, with 2 T's. Scot-free is actually spelled with 1 T, but, 2 T's on that card. That one piece of evidence, an insight into the man's state of mind, that he can get away with anything because of his skin color. His lawyer saying this to CNN. This was a guy simply following.
She's a bitch.
I'll tell you what's real.
She's
this
a bitch.
is real.
Right? She's a bitch.
She is a fucking bitch.
She's a bitch.
She
right?
is in Don Lemon.
She's a bitch.
Fucking
right?
bitch.
She's a bitch.
Hell.
Right?
Kind of bitch.
She's a bitch.
You know what I'm saying?
Right? She's a bitch.
Let's see.
Right? She's
so,
a bitch. Right?
What else?
She's a bitch.
I guess we'll go ahead and play another video because I'm not getting any phone callers and I don't know what else to do. I came here to take phone calls, smoke fat dabs, and play videos. And it's a good thing I came prepared with videos because we're not getting any phone callers. So
she's a bitch.
Let's pick up the pace. That is your part of the deal, people. Okay, I come, I fulfill my part of the deal. I'm like, hey, there's the phone number. Call now, right? That's my, and here's video clips. Make the show so you can feel informed and stuff you might not have heard about, and But no,
she's a bitch, right?
Just me.
She's a bitch.
Just me fulfilling my part.
She's
of
a
the
bitch,
deal.
right?
Let's see.
She's a bitch.
Okay,
right?
And I really like this story because
she's a bitch, right?
Well,
she's a bitch, right?
It seems like
she's a bitch,
again,
right?
Recognizing
she's a bitch,
the
right?
common enemy.
She's a bitch,
recognizing
right?
The real
she's a bitch,
enemy,
right?
So that we can come together,
right?
And take back
she's
all
a bitch,
of our
right?
power. That's
she's a
how
bitch,
we do it.
right?
Now check out this new picture. It shows the damage Bellingham police say was caused by protesters. The protesters allegedly vandalized the mayor's home and a police station on Friday. They caused an estimated $2,300 worth of damage to the police department. Officers are now working to identify suspects.
I have another video too. That's another important part of how we take our power back. It's about creating a police use of force database. In this country, when police officers are violent, often when they kill people, there is no database in which they go into. This is when they go to apply for another job in another state. That says, hey, this cop shot a bunch of people, and it was considered unjustified. So and it seems like those are kind of really important things. I have a video about that coming up. Hello, caller.
Michael, it's your motherfucking boy again.
What's up, G?
Yeah, it's me. It's your boy. You know who it is. Calling back again because you're bitching because you don't got no callers that you fucking cut off the first time.
Well, I can't. I don't know how you consider 30 minutes of talking cutting you off, Pete.
I talk too much and don't reciprocate the conversation. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I don't believe that I cut you off, and we had a caller waiting over 15 minutes to come on after you. So.
Oh yeah, Brandon. Brandon's a fucking G. Yo, shout out Brandon, by the way. That guy is fucking badass.
He seems pretty badass from what I've read.
I love that dude, man. He's a real dude. He's a real person. Mm-hmm. Shout out Brandon. And you know what? Shout out Craig for that matter. Craig does not get enough respect and recognition on the show, so shout out Craig, yo. You said you weren't getting no callers, so I figured I'll call in, and I know you were making a big deal about Dr. Seuss, and I do want to talk about
I have Dr. Seuss video. I have the Dr. Seuss video still, too. Go ahead.
Yes. You want to play the Dr. Seuss video, and then we can talk about it, maybe?
No, I'll play it when we're done. What is it you want to say about Dr. Seuss?
I don't know. Well, I've heard all this shit about Dr. Seuss and how they're not going to publish a lot of his books because a lot of the stuff was offensive.
Racist imagery.
Yeah, I loved Dr. Seuss growing up. I mean, my parents read me all the books and shit. And I don't know what kind of racial imagery they're talking about All of his books seem pretty neutral to me growing up. I really don't know what they're talking about. I'd love to know.
It's pretty obvious that the star-bellied sneetches were, discriminated against solely because of who they are.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Star-bellied sneetches? You don't know the star-bellied sneetches? Oh my God.
No, I don't know.
Well, you better look it up before it's not available anymore.
Okay, let me get my iPad and pull that shit up. I mean, I think the whole PC culture is fucking out of control. The whole politically correct culture, which is pushed by the left. Okay, let's make no mistake about it. And I know on this channel we're not about divisive politics. We don't believe in divide and conquer and all that shit on this channel.
Well, each side has the bullshit that they push. I mean.
The people that are pushing this anti-Dr. Seuss bullshit are people on the left and people that are like super pro PC, which PC, political correctness, I swear to God, is the new fascism. It's going to be the fucking death of us.
It's going to be the death of free speech. It's going to be the death of free speech.
I really believe in my heart that political correctness is going to be what pussifies our country to I don't have a better way to put it. It's going to pussify our country and make us a bunch of sensitive little fucking babies, and we're just going to get fucking invaded by Russia and China at this fucking rate. It's going to be the fucking downfall of the West, this fucking politically correct fucking horseshit fucking culture, and it fucking pisses me off. I'm sorry, Michael. I want to ask you one more time. What was the Dr. Seuss thing that you just said? The
star-bellied sneetches.
Star-bellied. Shit.
Star-bellied sneetches.
All right, I'm looking up. So what is supposedly racist or politically incorrect about these guys?
I don't know. I don't honestly know that that book is one of the ones on the list. I just know that the star-bellied sneetches are discriminated against, or one of the sneetches, there's star-bellied sneetches and ones without stars, and one of them is discriminated against by the other ones because of who they are. It just always seemed a little racist to me.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's a good story. You should read it. I always like having a shirt with a big star on it. It makes me feel like one of them.
What is racist about Dr. Seuss? Please, or what is politically incorrect about this? Please tell me, and I'll destroy all of you in this fucking argument. Please tell me. I don't understand it.
Again, the I don't know if it's the star-bellied sneetches or just the sneetches, but they're discriminated against because of who they are, because they don't have stars or because they do have stars. I can't remember which one it is. So
okay, so it's a story. He's talking about discrimination. He's not saying they're a bunch of fucking N-words or anything.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying that that's one that's on the list. It just always seemed a little bit, racist to me. That's all.
I don't know. I bet you. I don't know. I haven't looked into any of this story. I'm curious about it.
Yeah, you should read it. It'll take you like 10 minutes to read the whole story. So.
I bet you it's just a bunch of sensitive fucking assholes who got offended, because people get offended about anything these days. People are so fucking sensitive.
People seem to be.
And they take it too far, and then they want to end people's careers because they're offended about nonsense. It's ridiculous. That's like the culture these days. It's disgusting.
Seem like they're looking for a reason to be offended, and the problem with that is that if you're looking for a reason to be offended, then you walk around all day being offended, and if you walk around all day being offended, that's not a happy life. Why don't you look for things that make you happy in life, and then you can walk around all day being happy? Doesn't that make more sense?
Absolutely. You are absolutely right, Michael. And that's a great point about the cancel culture. and the cancel culture is a big problem. And there's a lot of people that just want to end people's fucking careers and end people's fucking lives because they're offended by one little stupid fucking thing that they said. That's probably and they probably take it out of context. You know what I mean? Like, I see it so much these days. Like, people get their whole Twitter following and their whole career ruined because it's something they said got taken out of context. And everyone started calling them a racist and all this shit, and it's nonsense. It's just fucking nonsense.
Or a homophobe or a misogynist or all these different things that you are now. A domestic terrorist. I've been called domestic terrorist numerous times by callers for whatever reason.
Oh, that's gonna be the new thing. And it's the same thing. It's no different than the whole domestic terrorist thing. It's no fucking different. You offend me, and I don't agree with your speech. Well, guess what, motherfucker? This is America, and we're allowed to fucking have free speech. You know, even if it's supposedly quote unquote hateful, and I don't even know what qualifies as fucking hate speech anymore. But
almost everything.
But here's the thing: people gotta be allowed to say what they're gonna fucking say, even if it's fucking hateful. You know, people gotta be free to speak. And the more you try to censor people and censor their language, then that just makes you the bad guy. You're automatically, snap your fingers, the bad guy when you're trying to censor people's language, even if they're saying hateful shit. You know how you counteract hate speech with other speech.
It's not. Look, the most important thing about freedom of speech and people spewing hate speech is that if you somehow make it not an option for them to spew their hate speech, then they hide it. And when they hide it, then you might not know that you're dealing with that kind of person, you know, because they're trying to blend in and they don't want you to know that they're one of those people, you know. So and I think it's really important to know these people who are filled with hate and stuff like that. So I think it's a huge mistake to act like, oh, we're going to censor these people. You don't want to censor them. You want to encourage them so that when
you want to bring them into the light. Yeah.
Right. You want to know who they are so that you're not caught off guard by them. You know, you're with them hanging out, and the next thing you know, they're saying all this racist shit. And you're like, where the fuck is this coming from? And everybody else around you knows that they're racist, and you're hanging out with them because they've already had that racist shit, that talk.
Like it's just like what we were talking about earlier about making drugs legal and all the shit.
Right.
You make drugs illegal, more people are going to want to do it. You make hate speech illegal, more people are going to want to do it. You embrace it because you can fucking crush all these dumbass hate speech motherfuckers with free speech easily. And you try to censor them, when you try to censor people, when you try to keep people from doing things, keep people from saying things, keep people from doing things, it just justifies them. It makes them more right in a way. Because you're wrong by trying to censor people and keep people from doing things. It's wrong to do that. You know,
it's a threat to all of us. See, because it's like the deal is that today we're censoring this speech, tomorrow we're censoring that speech. It's one of these proverbial slippery slopes because who is it that's going to say, oh, this speech is okay and oh, that speech is not okay? And I don't.
Who the fuck is who to say? We're going to let our government say what's right to say and what's not.
If it's a politician, if it's a politician that's going to decide that, I don't want anything to do with them. Look, we have to fight for freedom. Okay, the freedom for people to be who they choose to be. Again, if they choose to be that, you want to know. You don't want them hiding that from you. If they, because it just is. Again, today we censor those people. Tomorrow we censor you. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. That's the way it's always worked.
You're absolutely right. Before you know it, they're going to be coming after us because we're saying we don't like the government.
Which is why I screamed and yelled when they censored Alex Jones. You know, Alex Jones. I have always thought, or at least the last few years, 5 or 8 years, he's kind of been a clown. you know.
He went off the fucking rails, yeah.
But when they censored him, you know, they're censoring a clown and they're acting like he's a threat to everyone. I was like, hey, hair on fire, you know, this is what they're gonna do to all of us. And now they're blocking. Facebook is blocking news in Australia. How long do you think it is before YouTube is doing that? You know.
It's fucking disgusting. Americans ain't gonna tolerate that shit. We ain't fucking Australians, bitch. We ain't gonna fucking that shit ain't gonna happen in fucking America.
Yeah.
We'll boycott YouTube so fucking fast, and they will backtrack so motherfucking fast. It'll make their fucking head spin. These fucking cocksuckers don't have shit on us. We will boycott the fucking shit out of them. Anyone you don't like, just boycott them. And you cut off their money supply, and they immediately be, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We tried to censor you. Oh. I guarantee you, these motherfuckers will bend over. As soon as you cut off their money supply, they'll do whatever the fuck we say. All right? That's what's up. The people got the power. We just got to boycott. Boycott. Just don't buy shit from people that you don't like. Don't support shit that you don't like, and boycotting's going to be the next revolution.
It seems like it to me too. I believe that's going to be the way for us all to join together and say, yeah, we're not buying anything off Amazon until you listen to what we're telling you.
Absolutely, and you know what? They will fucking turn around in a second. In a fucking second. If they have any thought that it's going to hurt their profits, they'll bend over backwards. They're corporate fucking cunts. They will bend over backwards to make money regardless. All right? It's all about money to these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And so all the people got to do is flex their muscles, and they'll fucking fold like a deck of fucking cards. Guarantee you, dude.
Right. I agree. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yo, dude, I want to tell you a funny story.
Okay.
All right? This isn't a political story. It's a personal story about how I got fired today.
Okay.
And I think you guys will enjoy it. All right. So if you're looking for more political discussion, just tune out now.
No, don't tune out.
Are you all right with me telling the story, Michael?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm not fine with you telling people to tune out. Don't tell people to do that.
No. Sorry. Don't tune out. Listen, you guys are gonna love this story. It's fucking hilarious and controversial. It's a very funny story about how I got fired from my job today.
All right, let's get to it.
Okay, sorry, Mike. So I work at this company, right? And
You used to work at this company.
Yeah, I used to work at this company. It was a great place. So it's the type of company where we make products that like you buy at like CVS. We make like cough syrups and creams and hand moisturizers, all that dumb shit you buy at CVS, whatever, over the counter type shit, right? And it was a great place to work for a long time. And there was this one guy who works at this place who came to power. This guy came to power like a military coup through manipulation and conniving and lying. This guy literally lied and deceived his way to the top, like Gordon Gekko. Okay? And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. That's how a lot of these rich fucking cunts, by the way, get to power. They lie and deceive and connive and manipulate their way to the top, as you know. Everyone who listens to this channel knows that, right? And this guy is that type of guy. This type of guy that works in my company that I used to work for, right? And this guy pissed off so many people because he was such a conniving, lying, manipulative, deceitful piece of shit that all the good people at my company quit, right? So, and now I work for this fucking guy. I have to report to this conniving, manipulative piece of shit scumbag, right? So I hate this guy that I work for. I absolutely despise his guts. And my old boss just quit. She was a sweetheart, and the boss before her quit because of the same guy. Everyone's quit because of this guy, right? And she's like, I've had enough of this guy's shit. I don't have to deal with it. He's manipulative. He's lying. He makes everybody look like shit. Like he blames people for his mistakes, and this guy's just a master manipulator, right? Like this guy's like a new Illuminati level manipulator, right? Anyways, so now my first boss quit, my second boss quit, and now I got to report to this fucking cunt, right? And I hate this guy. I can't stand him.
I think we got that.
So, my old boss quit, and I can't bring myself to work for this man. So I said, you know what? I made up a lie. I said I've been exposed to someone who has COVID, and I have to quarantine myself.
Uh-huh.
And I made this up just because I don't want to work for this guy, and I want to cause him pain, because I work in the micro lab, at the microbiology lab, and they rely on me. Like, I'm kind of running this lab, and I want to hurt this guy by calling out and not being there. And if I'm not there, it's going to hurt him a lot, right? So I made up this lie that I was exposed to someone who had COVID, so I have to get tested and quarantine myself, right?
Uh-huh.
So I told the HR lady, look, I got tested today. It's going to take me 3 days to get my results back. I don't know what I'm making all this shit up, right?
Uh-huh.
And 3 days goes by, and I say, look, I still don't want to go back to work, right? Because I hate this guy. So I say, look, I did some research, and I found out that there's such a thing called intermediate test results, where if you get an intermediate result, which is kind of an inconclusive result, right? And if you get that, then you have to quarantine for another 5 days. I was like, great, that'll buy me some more time. So that's what I said. I said, look, I went, I thought I was exposed, I got tested, I got intermediate/inconclusive results. I have to quarantine for another 5 days. And the HR lady says, well, we do have some rapid tests. They don't have a lot of rapid tests. They hoard them, right? Because there's not a lot of them available. They only use them in emergency situations. They used it for me because they need me to work. Because if I'm not working, then it's costing the company money. So they said, Pete's got to get fucking Insta-test. So this last Friday, the HR manager says, look, you don't have to quarantine for these extra days. You can come in and get the Insta-test. I was like, fuck, right? Like, I don't want to come in. I want to hurt this guy, right? I don't want to come in, but okay, whatever. I'll come in, get the instant test. So I came in today to get the instant test. I walk in to the HR manager's office. She gives me the instant test. And apparently what you do is you take the swab, you stick it up your nose, you put it in the thing, and you wait 15 minutes, and you get your result, right? And the HR lady is fucking creeped out. She doesn't want to be around me because she thinks I have COVID. So she gives me the test, and she's like, go wait in your car and tell me what your result is, right? She emails me. Let me know what the result is 15 minutes later. So the result's negative, right? And I lied and said it's positive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I lied. And I figured that would get me out of it, right? Because she didn't actually want to see the result. She gave me the test and said, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
So I figured I would say it's positive, and she'd just take my word for it and be, "That's okay. Okay, come back in 5 days, whatever." She wanted to see a picture of the result.
Huh.
She wanted me to take a picture of the test and send it to her because she has to report it to the Rhode Island Department of Health, right? And so I panicked, right? So it's like I falsified the test, Mike. I falsified it. I took a big pen, and it's pretty much, the test is like, there's like two bars. There's like the one bar on the top, which is like the control, and if the bottom bar shows up, you're positive. So I took, and the bar is blue, so I took a blue big pen, and I took a big pen, and I filled in the positive. I falsified these results, and I took a picture of it, and I sent it to my boss, right, and the HR lady. And it was very, very obviously falsified. And I don't know why I was thinking I could have done a way better job at falsifying my results.
You were thinking you don't want to work there anymore. That's what you were thinking.
I don't want to work there anymore. I'm frustrated. I'm fed up. Literally, I'm angry. Like, I'm so full of rage that I'm not even thinking straight. I'm just like, fuck it. I'll just fake the result, right? So I falsify the result. I send the picture, and then some time goes by. I think about it. I go online. I do some research, and I find out that falsifying results on a COVID test could be potentially, some serious consequences could come from this. And I'm right now in the process of trying to find a new job, and I'm trying to get my criminal record expunged. Right? Like I have all this legal shit going on. So the thought of any potential criminal repercussions panics the fuck out of me, right? So now I'm panicking like, oh shit, I could get in trouble. Right? So I'm like, fuck. I'm literally panicking like so bad. I have so much anxiety, like, oh shit, I fucked up. Like I could get in trouble. I could get another misdemeanor for this or whatever, potentially, right? So I call the HR lady. I'm like, so how are we going to proceed? I got a positive result. What are we going to do about this? And she goes, well, your results look a little odd. Like there's these blue bars and they don't really look typical of what the result is. It looks very abnormal. What's going on with that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm playing dumb. And then she's like, well, and I made up this whole shit before that I got tested before and had inconclusive results, right? She's like, can you request the results from the medical clinic that you went to before? Can you send me those results? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll follow up with them. I'll send you the results. I'm fucked, right? I'm caught in a lie. I'm totally caught in a lie, right? So here's what I do. I call the HR lady back. She's like, you got to get tested again and send me the results and all this shit. I hang up the phone with her and immediately call her back. And I'm like, look, I spill the beans. I tell the truth. I'm like, look, I falsified the results. I faked it because I fucking hate this guy that I work for. He's a fucking piece of shit. I hate him. And this HR lady knows what a piece of shit this guy is. And she's like, I totally understand what you did. I sympathize with what you did. I get what you did. I get why you did it. You're stressed out. I've had a lot of people. She's the HR lady, and a lot of people have quit because of this guy.
Yeah.
So she knows kind of what an asshole this guy is. So she's like, look, I spilled the beans, and she's like, look, I understand what you did, but you still were dishonest. I got to talk to the CEO and see what he says. But I'm with you. I got your back, Pete. So she calls me back a little bit later, and she goes, we're going to have to let you go. I'm sorry, because it was just too dishonest. But even the CEO was, like, understanding. He's like, I know Pete. Pete's a hardworking guy. He's an asset to the company. Like, it made him question, like, what's going on with him? What's going on with this guy? What's going on with this company, right? So the HR lady, and this was like a fucking miracle that happened, right? She was like, look, we got to let you go. We got to fire you, but I'm not going to say you're fired. Like, she's like, you can resign. We'll let you resign if you want. That'll look better. And I was like, well, if I resign, I won't get unemployment benefits. She's like, you're right. You know what we can do? We can say that your position was terminated, which means that they got rid of my job.
Wow.
Right?
That's really cool, man. That's really cool, though. I mean, that she's like, trying her best to help you. That's amazing.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
I lied and falsified a COVID test, and she was actually sympathetic to me. She should have been like, fuck you. But she knows what an asshole this guy is. So she sympathized with me, and she's like, you know what? We'll just say that your position was terminated. You know what that means, right? Like, your job no longer exists. Like, I work in a micro lab. It's like saying that we got rid of the micro lab. We're going to do our micro testing somewhere else, so your position is eliminated. So it's like the most diplomatic way you could be fired, right? So I was like, that is fucking fantastic. Yes, please. So she's like, okay, I'll do that for you. You can collect unemployment, and then you can go. You can get the opportunity to go to work somewhere else with a free slate, and I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. You are a fucking saint on earth.
You should have just gone to her in the first place and said, "Hey, I need some time off, man. This guy's killing me."
That's kind of what she said. She's like, "I wish you had come to me earlier and talked about what a piece of shit this guy is."
Yeah.
The thing is, like, the reason I didn't was because I didn't think anyone was going to listen to me, because this guy has come to he's literally lied and manipulated everyone so much that he thinks all the management now thinks all the good people are pieces of shit. So I didn't feel comfortable like talking shit about him to anybody. But turns out she had my back. So now I got fired. I'm getting unemployment, and my record's going to get expunged. I got a lawyer, right? The courts are all backed up from COVID, right? But my lawyer's like, bro, within like 2 or 3, 4 months, we can probably get your record expunged, which is fine. You know, I have enough money saved where I can work for like 6 months without receiving any income, and I'd be okay. But I got unemployment insurance, so it's great. So everything worked out. It's a big happy ending. The fascists lost, and you know, your boy Pete's. Even though I lost my job, it's okay, because I'm going to go on and work, you know, for a better company ultimately, because I have so many connections now.
It sounds like it's working out for the best, honestly, Pete.
It is. It's you know, it's.
I had a friend, my friend Sam. He got fired about a year ago. He worked at this job where he was designing like displays for museums and stuff, and there was just some really stupid people that would just fucking talk all day stupid shit, and he couldn't handle it. And one day, like, one of the people that he works with got fired, and then they all went to lunch, you know, at the place where he likes to go to lunch, and he had like 3 or 4 people with him from work, and he said, they were talking about so-and-so getting fired, and he said, "Man, I wish I get fired." And he went back into work, and they said, "You got an hour to clean out your office."
Yeah, it's like they don't want people working there that are disgruntled, because it's a liability. It's a potential liability to the company to have disgruntled employees working there. But it's like, you know, so it worked out. It all worked out. And the company that I used to work for is fucked, because they got this manipulative piece of shit now, like, who's like a lead director there. So they're fucked. They lost all the good people that they have because of this fucking scumbag manipulative piece of shit. And you know, God, it's much like the American government, isn't? Like, it's crazy. But yeah, so I'm gonna move on to much better things. I'm gonna not have a job for a couple months, which is gonna be fucking fantastic. It's gonna be like a nice little vacay for me.
It sounds like you could really use that. It sounds like you could really use that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you'll be hearing more drunk Pete calls. Hopefully not so drunk. I'm trying to keep it not so drunk.
Well, if you got 4 months before you gotta get tested, then you should be able to eat marijuana right now, Pete.
No, dude. How long does it take to pass a drug test?
30 days should be good. I thought you were moving to fucking Massachusetts. It's fucking legal there, dude.
Well, here's the thing. I think companies can still, even though it's legal, companies can still, like, if they have the choice, like, they don't have to hire people that smoke weed if they don't want to.
Yeah,
like,
I think you're probably
private companies have that choice where they don't have to hire people that test positive for marijuana if they don't want to, and I want the flexibility to work wherever the fuck I want to. So I'm just gonna quit for a little while, as much as it fucking sucks, and I miss the marijuana so goddamn much, because that's my fucking baby girl. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm gonna be fucking making twice. Dude, all the people that left the company that I used to work at are now working at this new company. And they're getting paid twice as much. Their benefits are twice as good. They work half as hard. There's no stress. There's no toxic work environment, all that shit. So, and I'm eventually going to end up at that place. I'm sure of it, because I got connections. and then those mock donations are going to be twice as hefty, dog. You better believe that.
You're very generous already, Pete. So thank you very much for all that.
Yeah, well, maybe not so generous within the next few months, but when I get that new job in the biotech industry, the biotech industry big in Massachusetts, dog. So that's where I'm going. So that's my little story. I'm sorry if it fucking bored anybody. I hope it was entertaining.
I think a lot of people were probably entertained by that, Pete.
Yeah, well, that just goes to show, be honest, people. Don't lie. Honesty is the biggest virtue. And,
I think honesty is.
Be a good person. If you be a good person, karma's real. Karma's very real. And if you're a good person, good things will come to you. I believe that full-heartedly. And yeah. And don't let your anger get the better of you too. That's another word of advice I want to spread, because I'm a guy with a lot of fucking anger issues, and it's done nothing but fuck me over, and I gotta work on that, not being so fucking angry. So yeah. So on that note, Michael, I'll let you go.
The cannabis will help a lot with that once you get back to it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason why I'm so fucking pent up. Jesus Christ. I need the ganja to keep me fucking
sane.
To keep me stabilized.
Sane.
Jesus Christ. Really is fucking amazing. But all right, I'll let you go.
Okay, bro. I'll talk to you soon, I hope.
Praise Allah, jerky cock. I love you.
Stay cool. We'll get through it, okay?
I love you, bro.
Talk to you soon. Okay, so that's our buddy Drunk Pete. It's always good to hear from Pete. And that was a pretty interesting story about getting fired. And that's the thing about lying, is that he was saying, don't lie. It goes to show don't lie. The thing about lying is that you have to keep tracks of your lies, and they have to be very, very good, and you have to keep very, very good track of them. Otherwise, people are going to catch on to the fact that you're a liar. And people don't like liars because they feel like, I feel like when someone's lying to me regularly, that they must think that I'm not all that smart. And I don't appreciate that. So I'm going to play Dr. Seuss video for you now, as I told Pete I would do after we got done with his call. Dr. Seuss coming up right now. And if you haven't read The Starbelly Sneetches, I think it's a worthwhile read. Here you go. Dr. Seuss being censored. Or banned, actually. Book banning is good now.
We woke up this morning with a case of the blues. The work of Dr. Seuss was a headline in the news. After all these years of reading, how could it be his books have troubling undercurrents many didn't see? His reps are speaking out, trying to explain their action. The move to cancel 6 books has been slowly gaining traction. They portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong, in ways we were unaware of all along. His reach and popularity stretch wide and far, whether you travel the planet by a plane, train, or car. Dr. Seuss books are sold in more than 100 countries worldwide, translated into dozens of languages for the messages inside. They're filled with positive values in pictures and word, highlighting hope, tolerance, and love, like an elephant that saves a bird. I can't help but wonder what Dr. Seuss himself would say. Should we erase these books or use them to teach in a new way? There are things that are troubling in his early work from the past, but his change of heart and evolution was a turnaround that would last. So while the changes just announced aim to represent all, remember his enduring point. A person is still a person, no matter how small. To get us started tonight, I want to welcome in Kathleen Porter-McGee, Superintendent, Partnership Schools. That's a network of Catholic schools. And Kathleen, it's great to have you with us. Thank you. What is your message with this announcement today?
I mean, I think you said it really well, and there's no question that some of the early work of Dr. Seuss is problematic. I think that this issue has become super controversial. And whenever there is this much controversy surrounding an issue, I think it's actually important to take a step back and understand what's going on. And I think right now what's going on is we have two groups of people talking past each other. On the one hand, there are folks who look at that early work of Dr. Seuss, they see the problematic stereotypes and the depictions of racist imagery, and they say, we don't want these images and this content taught in our classrooms. And then there's another group that worries that this is a slippery slope to book banning and to censorship, and is worried about the impact that'll have on our classrooms and on our literature. And I think that what's really important to understand is that it is actually possible to accomplish the goal of diversifying our classroom libraries. It's possible to accomplish the goal of making sure that kids see positive images of themselves without resorting to book banning or without removing books from print.
We've seen this.
I think
in other cases, Kathleen, where these things have not been canceled or stopped, they get a disclaimer in the beginning. Do you think it's more effective to keep these books around and use them as a teaching tool?
I absolutely think so. I think erasing content from publication is dangerous for a number of different reasons. I mean, I think one, it really is important from a historical standpoint that we understand, we see how racist imagery existed in our literature, and we use that to study. Not in preschool classrooms necessarily, but it shouldn't be erased. I think another thing that's really important to remember is that we're never gonna censor our way to virtue. And so if what we're worried about is the images depicted in Dr. Seuss's early works or the images depicted in books, we're not going to solve the problem of racism through censorship. It's going to be through education. And I think another question this raises is who should really hold control of the question of who gets to ban or who gets to censor. And I think that this is a question at the heart of education in America, of who should be driving choices and decisions. And I think, again, we really need to make sure that we're amplifying community choices and parent choices, and we're really empowering teachers and not just removing things from their classroom
this
them.
Wasn't a decision made, though, by a school district or by a publisher.
True.
This was a decision made by Dr. Seuss's representatives themselves.
You know what was interesting, though? They did say, so it was made by Dr. Seuss's group itself, but they did say, we hope that this doesn't get pulled out of libraries. So I think it's a little bit of a confusing message and a mixed message. And that's where I think we'll actually achieve the goal of diversification in education, not through censorship, but through education and through discussions and through community and parent control.
Well, Kathleen Porter-McGee, we appreciate you joining us for the discussion tonight here on the Donlin Report. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I have a couple more videos for you guys. I am just letting you know, in case you want to call, there's going to be just a little bit of time left. And I am very happy to hear you guys call whenever you call. And again, we don't have to talk about Dr. Seuss. I remember Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss is very easy to read, and it just kind of flows out of your mouth, and it's, you know, rhythmic. It's kind of like poetry. So I don't know this book. If I was in charge of the zoo, or what's the name of that book? I don't know that one. I don't remember seeing that one. But you know, let's just say if I ran the zoo, I don't know that book, so I can't comment on it. Like again, what I can tell you is, for me as a child, Dr. Seuss was very enjoyable, and I think that it helps a lot of kids probably learn how to read and you know, and enjoy reading. So it's unfortunate that it has to be somehow you know, put a scarlet letter on it, you know. Very, very unfortunate. So I have more videos. I'm gonna play this full video from Kennedy about the Iran threat, and what I want to tell you about the Iran threat before we get into this is that from what I understand, Iran hasn't made war on anyone for a long, long time. Like hundreds of years, Iran has never created a war, started a war. So these people that are saying the Iranian threat, there is no Iranian threat. Iran hasn't started a war in hundreds of years. Iran's not interested in war. The threat is America. Everywhere around the world, America is making sure that everyone around the world knows that they're a threat. And then they say, oh, Iran's a threat. No, it's not true. Iran is no threat. They haven't attacked anyone forever, okay? Iran is an asset. And Iran, again, is no Iraq, right? Iran's no paper tiger like Iraq. Yeah, go ahead. Iran, okay, Iraq was a serious paper tiger, meaning that they call it like this big threat, but there's no there, In Iran, they've been training for multiple generations for America to come and attack them because they've been threatened again and again and again. So they're trying to be prepared as anyone who's being threatened again and again and again would be preparing for. Hello, caller.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, how are you doing?
Very well. I just joined your show a few minutes ago during the Dr. Seuss discussion.
Uh-huh.
And Dr. Seuss, I can't believe they're canceling his books. It's not like he was on saying racist things like fuck them niggers and cotton pickers and shank.
Uh-huh. No, I don't think he ever said anything like that. Only assholes would say shit like that. So, he seemed like a pretty good guy to me compared to assholes that would say shit like that, don't you think? And again, I was very glad to have Dr. Seuss books around when I was a kid. They really did mean a lot to me. So where was I? I was going to play the video. Okay, I'm going to play. Again, Iran is no threat. Okay, China is no real threat. China just wants to dominate the United States economically, and apparently our government has no problem with that. But China's no real threat militarily, just like Russia, no real threat militarily. But America is, threatening everyone around the world. And again, Iran hasn't attacked anyone for hundreds of years. So if you think that somehow Iran is a threat, understand you're simply buying into the propaganda, and you should be smarter people than that by now. Because how many times are you going to fall for the same shit?
Now check out this new picture. It shows the damage Bellingham police say was caused by protesters. The protesters...
All right, well, which 21st century U.S. president didn't bomb the Middle East? That's a trick question, because they all have. It's a newer executive branch tradition that President Biden engaged in this weekend, delivering fresh airstrikes to Iran-backed militias in Syria. But some in Joe Bomber's own party aren't too happy with the decision. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar highlighted a tweet from Jen Psaki. I highlighted that tweet also, who in 2017 wrote, quote, "Also, what is the legal authority for strikes? Assad is a brutal dictator, but Syria is a sovereign country." To which Representative Omar said, quote, "Great question. Pretty sure Jen just circled back on that one. Now imagine if the Constitution said the president had to get approval from Congress before going to war." Oh, it does. That's fun. Let's get back to the man panel. Pete, are Democrats the new neocons?
Maybe, of course, anyone in the White House feels like they have the authority to make this kind of strike. Here, my problem, I'm a little bit more hawkish than you in this particular sense. My problem is it's not tethered to an actual strategy of how they're dealing with Iran. So they're going to give pallets of cash. They're going to open up the negotiating table without preconditions. They've effectively said, okay, we'll go back to the deal, which means you'll get a path to the bomb, and we'll bomb a few sheds in Syria as a result. It's not as if what the Trump administration did was maximum pressure, you're not getting a bomb, and Qasem Soleimani is dead in Baghdad. Mm-hmm. That's a real approach to a foe, which you can disagree with, but it's at least strategically coherent. Whereas with the Biden administration, there is no coherence to it. And as you point to, you could trigger a war that nobody wants, a greater war.
And certainly no one can afford after $4 trillion
Yes.
in COVID relief spending. Spike, your thoughts?
My thoughts are this. I am utterly shocked that a Pentagon made up largely of cronies for Raytheon and Boeing and Northrop Grumman and the rest of the military industrial complex decided that the right way to proceed with this was airstrikes. That was, I'm still reeling from that. Let's be clear about something. This has all started from the pretext of an attack that supposedly happened before this. We, of course, know this happened because the government told us it did. And, of course, there's no previous history of the government lying to us to set off airstrikes or wars. We don't have the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq lie. We don't have the Gulf of Tonkin or the USS Maine or the ignoring of the signals that led up to the Pearl Harbor attack. We don't have a history of the government lying to us to get us into yet another war. I want people to think about for a second what would happen if, name a government, the government of Iran, the government of China, put bases around the entire U.S., surrounded the U.S. They were in Canada, they're in Mexico, they're in most of the Caribbean islands. There are fleets right off of our shores. They're flying drones just outside of our territory. They're constantly threatening us with war and invasion and liberation if we don't dismantle our nuclear program. This constant, perpetual, endless war will never end until the troops are home where they belong to protect this country.
We could close some of the bases, though. We have way too many bases open all over the world. Richard, your final thoughts. Do we need a new AUMF?
Well, listen, that's what I want to go back to. The truth of the matter is that our strategy around the Middle East has been mindless since 2001 when Congress sent a blank check to the White House, no matter who the president is, saying you could do whatever you want in the Middle East as long as you claim it's some sort of war on terrorism. And what we're seeing happen in the Biden administration is just the White House doing what the White House will do in a world where Congress and the people don't take back our power that says we are the ones that declare war, we are the ones who determine an enemy. And so if we really want to have a conversation about mindless Middle Eastern policy, just look at George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and you'll see three presidents who had mindless strategies when it comes to the Middle East, because guess what? We're still there and there's no peace.
Amen. All right. Well, and three wonderful gentlemen who made stunning, intelligent points, and everyone got along and looked great doing it. Thank you, man panel. Pete, Spike, and Richard. Beautiful.
Good to see you,
Thank you so much, Kennedy.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm not saying that Iran is cool. Okay, I didn't say that. What I said was Iran is no threat to the United States. We're spending trillions of dollars on the threat that is Iran, who hasn't attacked anyone for hundreds of years. Okay? Again, Iran is not a threat. And again, they're no paper tiger like Iraq and Saddam. Iran is the real thing. Okay, and they've been preparing for a long time. And Iraq is tiny compared to Iran. Iran is like 5 times the size of Iraq. And we can't beat people in caves and mud huts. So I don't know how the hell you're going to expect to beat people that have been preparing for war with America, because America for the last 50 years has been talking about, oh, the threat from Iran. Do you remember when Iran ever attacked America? Because I don't remember that happening. So the threat is not from Iran. As I told you guys again and again, the threat is from the people in Washington, D.C. and their ever-expanding police state. It should be obvious to you by now. So, since we don't have any callers, I'm going to go ahead and play another video. I have a video here, because I came prepared. I have a video here about... I have a little video that I wanted to show you guys. Oh, the police use of force database. I'm going to heat up the bong, and we will take a quick bong hit. Hopefully we'll take a bong hit together. But I'm going to heat up the bong while I play this video. And again, this is how, the only way that we're going to get a better police in this country is by creating a police database, so that we know about police officers who kneel on the necks of people until they die. So we know about police officers who unjustifiably shoot people for no reason, because they felt feared, because they feared for their lives. That's a good reason. I mean, how many people would get shot and killed if everybody who feared for their lives were shooting and killing people? right? And that's what that's what the cops get paid to do, to stare fear in the eyes and not blink. Okay, so this is about creating a database for cops' use of force. That way, when someone kills someone unjustifiably, they punch their name into the police use of force database, and they know, oh, well, this is a killer cop, and we probably don't want killer cops in our neighborhood. Since anybody can access the police use of force database and find out who this cop is, they'll be like, oh, look, they're hiring killer cops now. So this is like a really, really important thing, and I am glad to hear it part of the discussion and be able to bring it to your attention.
Cairo 7 News.
The progress at the state legislature to create a new statewide database to show all police use of force cases. The state Senate passed a bill with overwhelming bipartisan support yesterday. The vote was 46-2. It builds on recommendations the state attorney general made last June. There's also a companion measure in the House. If it passes, the bill would create an easily searchable public-facing website. It would show all use of force incidents and be updated quarterly. The hope is the new information will build trust through transparency and lead to greater equity and reform.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company. Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
I am just so hot for that woman in that video, man. I think she has that like French Canadian accent. She's sure cutie. So I'm going to play that commercial forever. That is an unsolicited, unpaid advertisement, so you know. Let's see. I still have more videos, but I have the bong heated up, and I'm about ready to do a fat dab. I have a couple more videos about the Biden defense nominee who's coming into office here, and the FBI director testifying on the FBI on the riots, the insurrection, the domestic terrorism that happened on January 6th, and something about the protesters on January 6th and how one of them was supposedly given war powers. These reporters, I just don't know how they can say some of the shit they say and not feel like I'm a fucking horrible human being. That one's for you, Pete. Since you can't take one, that one's for you, bud. I am so hot for that girl. Oh my God. I want a girl who can love a juice box that much on a beautiful day in the park. Because she is grooving on that juice box, man. All right, so I will go ahead and play another video for you now about the the DC rioter that was given war powers, because I think this is important propaganda you should know about.
New court documents reveal a far-right group allegedly gave an Auburn man war powers ahead of the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Ethan Nordine is one of a number of Proud Boys linked to the January 6th deadly riots. And in a court filing, federal prosecutors say he was giving orders, working with others to get equipment and funding, and they call him a flight risk. Federal prosecutors filed paperwork today trying to keep him behind bars pre-trial. A hearing on his case is set for tomorrow.
And so let's go live to our nation's capital, where the FBI director told Congress the violent attack at the Capitol building was carried out by domestic terrorists. The director faced questions about the FBI's role in identifying the threat and the ongoing criminal investigation. Camera 7's Samantha Manning reports he defended the Bureau's handling of the case.
The FBI director says the Bureau quickly shared information about the threat of violence before the attack. He rejected criticism from Capitol security officials who said the FBI didn't do enough to communicate the warning.
We at the FBI are determined to do our part to make sure that what happened on January 6th doesn't happen again.
FBI Director Christopher Wray testified before Congress for the first time since the Capitol insurrection.
That attack, that siege, was criminal behavior, plain and simple, and it's behavior that we, the FBI, view as domestic terrorism.
Last week, the former Capitol Police Chief blamed a failure to communicate the threat of violence for the unprepared response to the attack. But today, Director Wray said the FBI did in fact share information from a Virginia field office the day before the insurrection.
That information was quickly, as in within an hour, disseminated and communicated with our partners.
Senators grilled Wray about that warning.
Why hasn't the FBI produced the January 5th, 2021 Norfolk memo to Congress?
That information is law enforcement sensitive. I'm aware of the interest, and I can commit to you that I will get with my staff and see if we can make that available.
Wray told senators many of the suspected insurrectionists are associated with violent militia extremist groups or racially motivated extremist groups. Democrats pressed Wray about misinformation about the suspects.
Is there any evidence at all that it was organized or planned or carried out by groups like Antifa or Black Lives Matter?
We have not seen any evidence to that effect.
Director Wray says most domestic terrorism cases investigated by the FBI are racially motivated. In Washington, D.C., Samantha Manning, Cairo 7 News.
So again, what I want to point out is that at least 6 Seattle police officers have been identified. That's just in Seattle. I don't know about all of Washington State, but at least 6 Seattle police officers have been identified as taking part in that protest. And I don't hear, and if there was that's just Seattle, imagine all the other cops from all the other cities all around the country, because Seattle's all the way on the other side of the country, about as far away as you could get. Except for Alaska or Hawaii. So, but there's 6 Seattle police officers that are currently suspended and under investigation. But I don't see anybody in these hearings that love calling all these Americans, these protesters, these brave Americans who in the brave American tradition went into the street and demanded that their so-called representatives hear their voices. Again, brave enough to stand up against a comply or die police state. You must give these people credit. Just like the Black Lives Matter people, just like the Occupy protesters, who we've seen beat up again and again in the streets of America, simply doing the proud American tradition that has always pushed this country forward. Protesting their government. That's how women got rights. That's how black people got rights. Protesting. And it's not that just the black people protested, everyone, not everyone, but many, many people protested to get, it's not just women protested, people want everyone to have equality. Not everyone wants that, but lots and lots and lots of people want that. I want that for everyone around the world. That's basically how I see things. When I see somebody, if they don't seem to have money, or they do seem to have money, or whatever the color of their skin might be, or their religion, I don't really care. What I do is I say hi with a big smile on my face, and if you're not greeted back in kind, then there's a reason to question whether or not they might be friendly. If they're not friendly, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good people, but it probably means it's not someone you want to associate with. So, and that doesn't have anything to do with the color of their skin, or their sexual identity, or their religious beliefs. I don't care. I really would prefer not to know about any of those things. I think it would be much simpler that way. But it doesn't matter to me until you respond somehow negatively to me. And then I understand that you're not somebody I want to associate with. Because a lot of people choose to respond negatively towards me. But I am somewhat obvious sociopath. I don't. The rules don't really apply to me, and I don't have any respect for them. And I encourage as many people as I can to be the same way. Because fuck the rules, fuck the government, fuck you. Who the fuck made you the boss of me? Because in my opinion, I'm the only one who can do that. When I go to take a job and I agree that, okay, that guy's the boss of me, okay, he's the boss of me. If he wants to tell me to get a haircut, he can tell me to get a haircut because I agreed that he's the boss of me. Okay? But whoever else you think the fuck you are, if you think you're the boss of me, you are mistaken. And I will make that clear to you, as clear as possible, as quickly as possible. And you all know this about me. I am getting ready to play another video. I have 2 videos left. Look, I played all these videos. I played a Dr. Seuss video. I played the Bright Side. I played the fucking Tiger. I played the White Privilege card. I love playing the White Privilege card, don't you know? I played Shooting Sharks. I played all this stuff, man. Legalization in Illinois. I come prepared, people. I think I do a damn fine job, for those of you who think otherwise. But thanks for tuning in. So I have 2 videos left. If you want to call, this is going to be your opportunity to do so. Otherwise, actually, I want to play 3 videos because there's something here that I want to point out. Where is that at? Okay, so I'll be right back with this. Hold on just a sec.
This new picture, it shows the damage Bellingham police say was caused by protesters. The protesters allegedly vandalized the mayor's home and a police station on Friday. They caused an estimated $2,300 worth of damage to the police department. Officers are now working to identify suspects.
Oh, boo-boo. My boo-boo's gone. Okay, so what I want to say is that that again, I earlier when I played that clip, I was talking about people recognizing the common enemy. But I want to point out with this whole DC riots and all these things that people are talking about, that it's what I keep saying. Okay, the people who did that, the protesters, they didn't go to the mayor's house and smash a window because Donald Trump told them to. That's not the reason that they did that. They didn't go to the police station and, I don't know, look like they smashed a couple windows because Donald Trump told them to. Okay? And if these people were genuinely being public servants, if the mayor was genuinely a public servant, accessible to the public and hearing what the public is screaming at her, I believe it's a female mayor, people wouldn't act this way. But the mayor, the first time I remember someone spray painted something on her door, and I think they broke a piece of glass, but I'm not sure. I remember they sprayed something on her door, and she called those people domestic terrorists almost immediately. You know, they didn't set anything on fire. They didn't blow anything up. I can't remember if they broke a window or not, but I remember they spray painted some kind of graffiti on her front door, and she immediately labeled them domestic terrorists. And again, they wouldn't be attacking the police station, a comply or die police station, a comply or die police state. The people wouldn't risk their lives doing that because they love the police so much. And they're not doing it because Donald Trump told them to rush down there and do it. It's because, again, the police are doing evil with our tax dollars. They're hurting people. They're not protecting anyone. In Washington, D.C., what happened on January 6th, again, was not because Donald Trump told those people to go there. Okay? It was because those people are so angry with this piece of garbage government that spews nothing but lies and evil and never-ending wars of choice based on lies solely to make people like Dick Cheney richer than he ever dreamed. Okay? That's the piece of garbage government that we have. It's not looking out for a single working class person. And we can do better. And we deserve better. And again, the reason these people, these protesters, attacked the mayor's house is not because Donald Trump told them. And that's not the reason why they attacked the people's house. And they didn't really attack the people's house. They simply occupied it. They went inside and they occupied it. They weren't spraying graffiti all over marble columns. They weren't toppling statues. They weren't ripping down 100-year-old statues. Okay? They were simply having a protest. And now they're all domestic terrorists in the land of the free. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Goodbye, caller. Wait a second. Hold on just a second. What is happening now? I don't know what happened there. I think I screwed up. I think I pushed the wrong button. Sorry, caller. Call back. I will talk with you. But I have, again, the pointing that I'm wanting to make is that that's not the reason they attacked the mayor, and it's not the reason that they took over the people's house on January 6th. Was not because Donald Trump told them to go and attack the mayor's house. It was because, or go and attack the people's house. It was because the people are angry at professional politicians who won't hear their voices, who won't do the people's business, who won't act like a single working class person in this country matters. Okay? That is, that's the reason the people on January 6th went to the people's house and occupied it. That's the reason. Again, not damaging, or damaging as little as possible. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey.
What's happening?
Joe Biden.
Joe.
You have your left.
Joe what?
Joe Biden.
What about Joe Biden? He hung up. I don't know. I did not hang up. You guys saw. I had my hand up. I didn't hang up that phone. He hung it up. I don't know what he was trying to say. But yeah, fuck Joe Biden. That's all I'm trying to say. You know, he puts kids in cages and he whines about it when other people do it. And he's been doing it as a professional politician for generations. You know, the war on drugs, he's done everything in his power to keep the war on drugs firmly in place for the last 50 years of his life. Being vice president, being senator, being members of Congress for that entire time. Everything he could. And you know why? To persecute people, to persecute Americans. And in doing so, help to create a heroin epidemic, a meth epidemic, a thriving black market that funds criminal activity everywhere, every corner of this country. That's what Joe Biden has done. That's what Kamala Harris has done. That's who these people are. And they know that they've done that, and they did it purposefully to keep you under the thumb of the police state. And never forget it. We can tell you what you can put in your body. And if we say that this thing that humans have been doing for 1,000 generations is now illegal, then you best fucking act like it's illegal. Because you are not the boss of you. We are the boss of you. How's that working out for you, Joe? So let's play this video about the FBI director. No. The defense nominee. That's what we'll play. Defense nominee is video number 9. Number 9. I'm going to go heat up my tea. I'll be right back. Down to the last 2 videos. If you want to call, this would be a good time to do it.
This week, a confirmation hearing is set for President Biden's pick for Undersecretary of Defense Policy, Colin Kahl.
The role oversees how the Defense Department handles military threats from China, Russia, and Iran. Sinclair's national correspondent James Rosen shows us why his nomination is raising some eyebrows.
As National Security Advisor to then Vice President Biden, Colin Kahl was a key player in Obama-era foreign policy, specializing in Middle East issues and the Iran nuclear account.
Colin, you think the Iranian government is showing a genuine desire for dialogue?
Now, if the senior fellow at Stanford advances beyond Thursday's Senate Armed Services hearing, he could be confirmed as the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, the Pentagon's representative on the so-called Deputies Committee that shapes the workflow and options considered by the White House National Security Council and the Commander-in-Chief. But some Republicans on armed services argue Kahl's long record of partisan attacks and Mideast policy positions makes him unfit for the sub-cabinet.
We are very much aware of this nomination moving forward. There are tremendous concerns.
In 2012, as an Obama surrogate, Kahl denounced Republican nominee Mitt Romney, now Utah's junior senator, as someone who'd, quote, say anything to get elected, no matter how reckless, unquote.
He's zigged and zagged all over on Afghanistan.
The world is complex, Kahl tweeted, and Romney doesn't get that. The following year, when Democratic Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey proposed sanctions if Iran violated the nuclear deal, Kahl called that a, quote, bad idea. Kahl also opposed the designation of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization and credited Iran's frequent statements that using nuclear weapons would be a sin against Islam as evidence the regime was willing to abandon its pursuit of a nuclear weapon.
I think that they're creating a narrative that would allow them to step back, and that we should explore that with diplomacy.
After earning his doctorate in political science at Columbia University, Kahl rose to Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense before joining Vice President Biden's White House staff. With an increasing number of its nominees facing GOP pushback, the White House recently vowed to surrender no quarter.
I think we are committed to continuing to fight for all of our nominees.
Asked for comment, no one in the Biden administration would defend Colin Kahl. The Defense Department referred us to the White House. The White House provided contact information for 2 officials, neither of whom responded. Congressional Republicans told me they expect Kahl to emerge from the Senate process confirmed, but, quote, bloodied. At the Pentagon, James Rosen.
And today, the Senate confirming President Biden's pick to lead the Commerce Department. They confirmed Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo for the role. The vote was 84-15.
She's a bitch, right?
You know,
She's a
it's
bitch,
true.
right?
All right, so
She's a bitch,
we
right?
are down to
She's
our
a
last
bitch,
video,
right?
and
She's a
we're
bitch,
out of
right?
callers,
She's a
and
bitch,
I've done
right?
about enough
She's a
dabs
bitch,
for
right?
the moment.
She's a bitch.
So
right?
if anybody
She's a
wants
bitch,
to call,
right?
now would be the time to
She's a
do it
bitch,
before I
right?
play another video.
She's a bitch, right?
Because I can
She's a
do
bitch,
that.
right?
I have videos.
She's a bitch,
I came
right?
prepared, people.
She's a bitch.
Here's a suggestion. Just don't be
so if
a-holes.
there's,
Here's a suggestion.
no
Just
one
don't
calling,
be
then go ahead and play
a-holes.
this last video,
Here's a suggestion.
and,
Just don't be a-holes.
And then I guess
Here's
we're
a
out of here if we
suggestion.
don't get a phone
Just
call
don't be
by the end of
a-holes.
the video,
Here's a
okay?
suggestion.
So,
Just don't
I'll
be
right
a-holes.
back.
Here's a
Excuse me
suggestion.
while I whip
Just
this
don't be
out.
a-holes. Here's a suggestion. Just don't
Number
be a-holes. Here's a suggestion. Just don't.
Throughout the evening. And racially motivated violent extremism is the biggest chunk of our domestic terrorism. portfolio, if you will, overall.
Another big story we're tracking in our nation's capital. The director of the FBI calls the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol an incident of violent domestic extremism and pushes back on conspiracy theories as he faces tough questions in the Senate. We have a team covering all of the newest developments. We want to start with KOMO's Patrick Quinn and more on the King County man who U.S. attorneys now believe was a leader in the attack on the Capitol. Patrick?
Hey, Mary, new details tonight in the case against Ethan Nordine from Auburn. He is a member of the Proud Boys. And today, U.S. attorneys, they are alleging that Nordine, in fact, was promoted within the organization just before the insurrection and, in fact, had war powers on January 6th. And we have torn into some of these court documents to learn more about this case around the 30-year-old who, again, is from Auburn. And what we've learned is this week in the case against Ethan Nordine, U.S. attorneys say the 30-year-old holding the megaphone was in a position of giving instructions, not receiving them on the day of the attack. In court documents, attorneys say Nordine, quote, stalked the front line in an apparent effort to intimidate law enforcement and encourage the crowd. Nordine's attorneys refute these claims, arguing he had no plans of intending to commit a crime. Today, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham questioned FBI Director Christopher Wray if the Proud Boys should be designated as a terrorist group.
Well, I don't think we have treated the Proud Boys itself as a domestic terrorism group, but we certainly have individuals.
What does it take to make the list?
Well, there is, as you may know, Senator, under federal law, under U.S. law, there is no list of domestic terrorism organizations the same way there is for foreign terrorist organizations.
Well,
now, Nordine right now is in federal prison, in fact, here in SeaTac, awaiting his next court appearance. This new information about Nordine's role came in an attempt from Nordine's attorneys to release him from prison during the court proceedings. Now, he did have scheduled today that court hearing. However, that was pushed until tomorrow. And in new court documents today, Nordine's wife, Corey, in fact, testified saying that if released, she would ensure that he would not be a threat to the public. Mary?
Well, Patrick, how did Nordine's attorneys defend his actions that day?
Well, right. They're not refuting that he was there that day on January 6th. And in fact, a spokesperson on behalf of Nordine's family also confirmed to me that Nordine was there on January 6th. However, they are stressing he had no plans to orchestrate or run out any crime on that day. There's been a lot of back and forth that's come to light in the last couple days about Nordine's role there and ways that he may have helped orchestrate things, the use of technology, potentially walkie-talkies from China that were encrypted. However, Nordine's attorneys and his wife, they refute that. His wife today said that he only bought those walkie-talkies, which they did recover at his house when he was arrested after the insurrection. His wife also says that his phone was in fact powered off that day, so that would have limited him from orchestrating and working and communicating with other members of the Proud Boys that day. There was also alleged in these court documents that Nordine was planning to use a fake passport and leave the country potentially if released from prison. And again, his wife came back today and said that that passport was from a former boyfriend of hers. It was found in an old jewelry box. And again, she stressed that if he were released, he would not be a threat to the public. There'll be a lot of back and forth in this as this court hearing and the case plays out. We'll be watching it closely. Mary?
Patrick, thank you. Nordine is one of about 300 people now facing charges in the January 6th attack. Today, the FBI director contradicted what lawmakers were told in another hearing about a warning the night before the insurrection. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar explains.
Nearly 2 months after the deadly attack on the Capitol, serious questions about what happened remain unanswered.
I look forward to answering the questions.
Do you affirm the testimony?
Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee grilling FBI Director Christopher Wray about what the FBI knew about the potential for violence and when they knew it. Late last month, former Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund told lawmakers he was not aware of a memo from the Norfolk FBI office from January 5th, warning of the potential for violence. Wray says that memo was distributed
to our partners, including the Capitol Police, including Metro PD, in not one, not two, but 3 different ways.
But couldn't give an answer about why the memo wasn't acted on. Wray also tells senators January 6th was not an isolated incident, that he's been sounding the alarm about domestic terrorism for years.
Specifically, of the sort that advocates for the superiority of the white race is a persistent, evolving threat.
Wanting to know how the FBI can help prevent future violence, Democrats and Republicans frustrated for years by pushback and lack of transparency with the FBI.
As sure as the sun will come up in the east tomorrow, we've been told by the FBI you can't do that.
So if you think your process is working, we're not seeing it on our end.
Ray says the Bureau would benefit from more resources, especially as it takes on more than 270 cases stemming from the Capitol attack.
Today, the Senate is...
Testimony continues this week. Senators set to hear more from the FBI and other officials Wednesday. All face the daunting task of preventing future acts of domestic terrorism. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atrell Nashar reporting.
Okay, so I wanted you guys to see those the graphics on that video because it said America on Alert, which I think may be the title of tomorrow's show. But America on Alert, right? America is like, it's like we're in this moment where we have to all be on alert. If you see something, say something. The terrorist threat is greater than ever. I'm sorry, the domestic terrorist threat is greater than ever, and we need to understand that. And it's gonna, because America is on alert. Something bad could happen at any moment. They're planting the seed. Okay, they're getting ready for, again, as I was telling you earlier, Iran is no threat to America, but they talk about the threat to Iran, the threat from Iran, the threat from Iran, the threat from Iran, when it's America that is obviously the threat to Iran. So all we need now is for something to happen. And since we have America on alert, then we know something probably likely to happen at any moment, right? This is the programming. Don't buy into the hyped up fear. Don't buy into the programming, the division programming. And recognize our enemy, okay? We have a common enemy, and it's the people in Washington, D.C., and their ever-growing police state. Ever-growing stronger and stronger. And every night I show you that they don't care about the people. That cop tonight in the legalization story, he doesn't give a fuck what the people want. He doesn't care if the people want marijuana to be illegal. All he knows is that's legal. If people want cannabis to be legal, that police officer's like, I don't give a fuck. This is a problem for me. That's all I know is this is a problem for me. So that's the kind of garbage. As I say over and over again, all the pillars of our community, all the people who, when there's desperate and there's no one else you can run to, they're all completely full of shit. You know, all the members of Congress, all the cops, all the religions, you know, all the politicians. Doesn't matter if they're local or in D.C. It's just they're just full of shit, and these are the people, again, when you're desperate and there's nowhere else to turn, these are the people that we turn to. So I think that we deserve better. I know that we can do better. And I'm going to continue to point things out and try and push for a better tomorrow, because I know we can do it. So we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. I come here, I play news stories, I take phone calls and fat dabs. And I am all out of phone callers and all out of videos. So again, we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m., which means we'll be back tomorrow night, same Mox time, same Mox channel, 7 p.m. Pacific time, that is. So if you have the chance, please check us out, tune in, because it's always better when you're here. And I mean that sincerely. So I hope we see you tomorrow. And until then, stay cool, because, let's see, one of these days, where are we at here? That's it, yeah. One of these days, this war is going to end. Because all wars end one day. Hopefully, we'll all be there to celebrate it together, because that would be an awesome day and a very cool celebration, which I really hope I get to take part in. Stay cool till then.
All right, well, which 21st century U.S. president didn't bomb the Middle East? That's a trick question, because they all have. It's a newer executive branch tradition that President Biden engaged in this weekend, delivering fresh airstrikes to Iran-backed militias in Syria. But some in Joe Bomber's own party aren't too happy with the decision. All right, well, which 21st century U.S. president didn't bomb the Middle East? That's a trick question, because they all have.
My thoughts are this. I am utterly shocked that a Pentagon made up largely of cronies for Raytheon and Boeing and Northrop Grumman and the rest of the military-industrial complex decided that the right way to proceed with this was airstrikes. That was, I'm still reeling from that. Let's be clear about something. This has all started from the pretext of an attack that supposedly happened before this. We, of course, know this happened because the government told us it did. And, of course, there's no previous history of the government lying to us to set off airstrikes or wars. We don't have the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq lie. We don't have the Gulf of Tonkin or the USS Maine or the ignoring of the signals that led up to the Pearl Harbor attack. We don't have a history of the government lying to us to get us into yet another war. I want people to think about for a second what would happen if, name a government, the government of Iran, the government of China, put bases around the entire U.S., surrounded the U.S. They were in Canada, they're in Mexico, they're in most of the Caribbean islands. There are fleets right off of our shores. They're flying drones just outside of our territory. They're constantly threatening us with war and invasion and liberation if we don't dismantle our nuclear program. This constant, perpetual, endless war will never end until the troops are home where they belong to protect this country.
We could close some of the bases, though. All right, well, which 21st century U.S. president didn't bomb the Middle East? That's a trick question, because they all have.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition of misfits and they cobble together and they don't attack each other, they stay united. Coalition